meeting today. Now, I know that we are starting off a small group, which is good because it gives us the opportunity to ask our questions and get to know what we need to know. Now, I know everybody here is wondering, why am I having a meeting specifically just for settings, right? It seems weird, a meeting just for settings, just for Zoom US. I mean, after all, you go on the Zoom platform, you can just click on it and get on there. Why am I having a whole meeting and not just one, 3 whole hours dedicated just to settings? It makes no sense, right? Remember, this is a discussion, But
Right.
I thank you, Toastmaster Jerry. I tell everybody my pronouns are they, them, because I talk to myself, and if you wait long enough, you'll answer. But this time, it's actually a group of them. So we're having a conversation. I need an answer. Well, let me explain why we're dedicating this just to the settings. Today, I was at club officers training, and everybody emphasized the need for planning. Why do we need to plan? Why do we do the club success plan? All of that. Well, guess what? That planning applies across the board to everything that we do in life, which also includes the Zoom platform. Now, if you're going to use the Zoom platform, you assume that once you log into the platform, everything is set and it is all good and we are ready to roll. Contrary to popular belief, no, it's not. If you have not set your settings, guess what? You will not be able to use or utilize the settings that you need when it comes time for you to do that. How do you do that? You have to pre-prepare based on what you're going to need. And when I get into the settings for those who have not been there, you will actually understand why it is that I told you or I go through the effort to say, set your settings. So we're actually going to start with, and I am doing this on my tablet. So you see a lot of me because I'm going to teach everybody one, how to do things, not only from their computer, but also say you just have a tablet. Say I'm using the tablet now. Can you run a Zoom meeting from a tablet? Yes, yes, you can. When everybody came in, they saw me doing my Zoom J from the tablet. You can also get to your settings that way as well. Now, I'm a Chrome kind of girl, so I choose Google Chrome as what I would use for my settings, but it's completely up to you what choice you make. What is important is that you type in zoom.us and press enter. Now, when you've logged in, let me know because I'm not the only person who is going to be sharing my screen. We're all going to do it so that we can all get hands-on practice to set based on our needs. Now, if you notice, this is the profile page. This is where we're starting. That's me, see my pretty picture there. Somebody asked me, how do you set the picture? This is how you set the picture. Right here on the profile, you would click edit. And from there, you would get the opportunity to put in the picture, your name, what display name you want, because I can't be bothered to remember all the time to put the TM in front of my name. I put it there by default, so it will always come up instantly. Now, we said about the pronouns, and I said mine are they, them, but until everybody in the Caribbean gets that joke, and in certain other places, I just decided to leave mine blank. But if you want to set she, her, he, him, they, them, other, that's completely up to you. And it said, how would you like to share your pronouns? So you get the option of how you want it to be set. Now, when you're finished with everything, and I know it's like a 5-year-old thing to explain to you that you have to click save, right? And you'd wonder, Johnny, why are you saying that to me that you have to click save? Well, let me tell you. I sometimes make the mistake of assuming that you don't have to. When we get further into Zoom, you will know why. Make a mental note to ensure that if that little blue save button comes up, you do it, or you're going to have to do every single thing again. Now you have the option to add a phone number as well as select your language, your time zone. As you can see, mine is Bogota time because that's what they call Jamaica, but you actually have the option, and you can change it by clicking edit, of actually choosing any number of possibilities of what your time zone would actually be to utilize accordingly. What does that do? One, any registration that you pull through Zoom, like everybody who was having a difficult time getting on, because to get onto my meetings, you have to register. Once it puts it into your Zoom calendar, or it's going to set a reminder, it is going to go based on your time. Now, for universal, well, I don't reach to Mars yet, but for an international traveler, right way, like myself, the best thing to actually choose to do is to set that time zone, because by default, once you save it to your calendar, be it Google, Yahoo, or they're just the regular calendar settings, you don't have to worry about remembering where you should be at what time. You will actually get a notification. Now you have the date format. I set mine to day, month, and year because in Jamaica, that's how we write the dates, the day, the month, and the year. But in America, they do month, day, year. So because of that, you have the option to actually set this according to your preference. If you go on the drop down, you'll notice you have the ones that start the year first. For devices that I know, for example, the logical logistics that I know won't specifically be for Jamaican Toastmasters, I do year, month, then date as the standard, because say it's the 7th of July. Americans write it one way, Jamaicans write it another way. But if I start with the year, month, date format, I've found that most people will follow that year, month, date. While if I just put, say it's the 12th of the 8th, 2020. In Jamaica, I would read 12/8/2022 as December, as August 12th. But in America, they would read it as December 8th. Things like these are important in your setup because you have to remember that when you're doing this setting, you're doing it for the persons who are going to attend your meeting just as much as you are doing it for yourself. Now you have the time format, you have 12 hours, you have 24 hours. I much prefer the 12 hours, so I chose that. But if you're the Army type, Army, you can go ahead and utilize that. Now I have a personal meeting ID room and a host key, as well as you can see my licensing insurance, my licensing information insurance as well. Now, for other things that you can do in the other section, you will notice you can configure your calendar and your contacts. That's up to you if you want to utilize it to make your Zoom experience easier. You also have the whiteboards, your data center. If you notice, it's currently on. How do you know it's on? If that little blue bar is not highlighted, it is not on and you will not be able to utilize the setting. It is interactive. So before I move from the profile information, does anybody have any questions as it relates to this? And I would love everybody to unmute and go, oh, I didn't even know that was there.
Well, I didn't know the whiteboard thing was there.
We're gonna find a lot more of that.
I didn't know.
Any questions? All right. So do we have any more questions as it relates to the profile?
Well, I missed it because I was having issues logging in Toastmaster Journey, even though I was
okay.
I don't know what's happening.
My apologies. You know that Murphy always has to show up, especially whenever I'm doing anything. So it happens, and my apologies, but now that you're here, basically what I took everybody through was the profile information, which is how you change your picture, your name, as well as your pronouns. Again, mine is they, them, because I talk to myself, and if you wait long enough, you'll hear me answer, as well as how you want it to be displayed, so how you want to share your pronouns. You get the option as well to do that and how to add your phone number, language, your time zone. The importance of the time zone again is we are Bogota time. It will set it according to where you are located so that no matter where you register, no matter in what time zone, it will always coordinate, or Zoom will coordinate on your behalf to get it right. And as somebody who constantly ends up 2, 3, 4, 5 hours late for a meeting, trying to calculate it myself, doing this and adding it to your Google Calendar or any calendar that you choose makes life so much easier when it comes to reminders. Cover the date format. Americans write month, day, year. Jamaicans and most Caribbean or English speaking persons write day, month, year. Why is that an issue when you're doing this? Because for me, if I'm dealing with other people who are from an English speaking area, then 12/8/2022, they'll read it as the 12th of August 2022, right? But if I send that date to an American, they're actually going to read it as December 8th, 2022. The 12th of August was the first week, right? But they're going to read it the other way, which is they're going to say, why is this meeting in December if it just has the numbers like that? My fix, or the quick fix I do on things that I know that I'm going to have a cross-cultural or deal with people from multiple backgrounds on, is I do year, month, day, year, month, day, because by default, no matter what, year, month, day will always be read year, month, day by everybody. There is no variance, like in the case of the dates with the English system versus the American system. So year, month, day usually tends to make sense. I emphasize, if you make a change, press that little blue save button, because if you move and you don't, because you assume that it will save, which happens automatically in certain other places of the settings, you're going to have to go back and do everything all over again. So make a mental note. Any little blue button with save, once you've made a change, ensure that you press it. And basically, I just showed the rest of the information.
The
So are we good as it?
Privilege. The transit data down there where you have all those different countries highlighted, what does that signify?
All right, to provide the best experience, participants joining from other regions. So I am going to say that it's the ability to make the call and enter the meeting, because I've been blocked from getting notification and messages from certain places. Like, for example, because I haven't selected China and Hong Kong, persons coming in from China might have an issue with joining.
Okay, understood.
By a call. Have you ever seen it where somebody comes on and you see the phone?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so if you're on the phone from that country, it's not going to allow you to log on.
Understood, thanks.
And it's just not there because it never came to mind for me to do it. And this is why we're going to reset the settings. Or nobody from China has ever complained. Yes, Toastmaster Pearl, I see your hand.
Yes, just want to add to that. I am presently, as you know, in the Netherlands, and the meeting on the 12th, it was 6 o'clock AST, but 5 o'clock Jamaican time. And I came on, first of all, too early. And when I came on, when the calendar came up, it came up as the 13th, the meeting was, instead of the 12th, because of the time difference. I guess if you did not have that updated there by you, I might not have had that advantage.
Oh, right. There might have been the case where you end up missing the meeting because your time zone didn't coordinate.
Exactly. Yeah, it started by me at 12 midnight, because we have a 6-hour difference. Well, from Jamaica is a 7-hour difference. From AST, St. Martin, would be 6 hours different.
Yeah, so that's quite a lot of difference when it comes to the setup of times, and we always try to find the easiest way to do things, and that is just register, put it in a calendar. It does not have to be Google. I just happen to prefer Google. Google runs ahead. But if it's your case where you just have your regular on your device calendar, just add it to your on your device calendar or your Outlook calendar, which will assist you in the reminders and make it easier for you to make sure that you don't miss meetings. Now, since I've said meetings, let's go over to our meetings. Now, what do we notice on this that is currently happening? Or like something just should seem off looking on here, right? Do we see something that just looks off? No?
August
This
25th.
Thursday, August. No, sorry. True,
We're not seeing anything that looks off. I'll give you a hint, it's red.
The video setting.
The video thing.
All right, besides set your settings, you see the little red video because we're on the meeting right now. So because it's currently in progress, it's showing that that meeting is in progress with that little red thing right beside it. Why? I won't be able to make any changes or any edits to this now. I can join the meeting or end the meeting because that little red thing is there. It's an indicator that the meeting is currently in progress. But say, for example, this meeting, if I wanted to start it, edit it, or delete it, this is usually what you would see if a meeting is not in progress. You can use that for upcoming meetings, and the beauty of it, and why I brought you here, is that whenever you create the meeting, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, how to schedule a meeting. You'd get that by scheduling a meeting. But let me teach you this important part, because this was a fact, very hard learned by yours truly, and I've said calendar a few times. You have the options to add it to your Google Calendar, your Outlook calendar, or your Yahoo calendar already by default on Zoom. When you're setting up the meetings, if you want to edit or change anything after the fact, you can. But a lot of the times what happens is that we tend to not be able to find one, registration, the email settings. I am using my account, as in my Toastmaster Joni Laidlaw at Gmail account, which is a paid account. However, this is specifically for my Logical Logistics Tech for Toastmasters workshop. It means that the email contact, because my Toastmasters email cannot handle any more conversations, would have to go to that one. And what would I do? I would go here to edit it. So that way, say for example, my paid account not working, right? And I have to say, Toastmaster Carol, Toastmaster Kentisha, can I borrow your account, create a meeting for me, but I need a registration link. The email address that I can put here as a contact for people to reference can be an email that is not associated with the account. Meaning, I can say, but Kentisha, please put my email in there, please, so that when people see the email, you all remember the registration email, right? So that when that registration email comes, it will say, if you want further information, and give my contact email. But if you don't change that, everything is going to go to the owner's email. So that's really important to keep in mind when you're setting up the meeting, and keeping it in mind before you do that, so that by the time you get to the screen, it's already in your mind, because a lot of the time it totally goes away from you. So as it relates to branding, does everybody notice that I have my cute little picture on my Zoom sign-in for Logical Logistics, and on the email, you see a cute little picture of my logo specifically for this event?
Johnny, before you go further, I think I just missed out where you are. I'm trying to find where exactly you are.
Okay, sure. I am currently in meetings. So right below profile, I'm in meetings.
All right. Okay.
So in meetings, What
Mhm.
I did, I have already created a meeting. So I'm
Oh,
showing you the steps at the end after the meeting has
oh,
been.
because I was wondering how yours looking so different to mine. Okay.
Because mine has already been set. And that's why I did that, because this was already set up. So it can be used for demonstration purposes.
Okay.
So as it relates to branding, if you notice, I have the banner. On my WhatsApp messages, you will see that when I share it, my logo comes up or a banner comes up on the email. Now, for this one that I have, this current meeting that I have, you will notice that you will see my picture right here. Because if you get the dimensions right, for those who are at the Canva training, you have to have the picture at a certain size. So if the picture is the correct size, you can actually put it onto it, and on the actual email itself, it will produce a banner that will be at the top of the email. And that can be any picture that you choose, but this is where you would add that. Now, I also have my logo as well, which, as you can see, was updated, and I used two different ones so that we could accentuate and show the difference. What's important? This has a requirement. It's a JPEG or it's a JPEG file or a JPG file that's 24-bit or a 24-bit PNG. It means that it's small. You have to create it for icon. So for those who don't know what an icon is, because you're not old like yours truly, who was on the computer when we had to select the icon to change the folder. You remember those days when you had the folder and you had to go into properties to get the little icon file, and you had those tiny, it has a certain settings to make it smaller. That's actually required for Zoom. You actually have the suggestions for the dimensions below it. So if you're saving or you're creating a logo, you can actually ensure that one, you get the max file to only be 300 kilobytes, or use those dimensions to create the image that you want to put on there, because if not, it will not work. I will, off the air, because I'm advertising for Google, let everyone know other steps if somebody gave you a picture already and you want to change it, but that's not for this part of the training. You can pre-create polls and quizzes. So if you want to create a PNG file, yeah, you can use a PNG file, Toastmaster Perla, but the PNG file also has a certain amount of settings that would be required, and it's there as well with what it has to be. But it's already located there, and you can use it as long as it falls within the size stipulated by Zoom.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So polls and quizzes. You can pre-create your polls and quizzes. Now, for those on the move like yours truly that have a lot of things to do, I'll give you a Toastmasters example. Best speaker. You know by default from beforehand who is scheduled to be on the agenda. So you can actually put together your best speaker poll beforehand. You can go there, select poll, and from there, you have the option to make your choices. What I like is you have single choice or multiple choice, because sometimes you may actually need that as an option. And to add a question, as you know, just, well, add a question. That's it. Now, you can allow participants to answer the question anonymously. Why did I select that? When we're doing stuff like contests, or for example, best speaker or best table topics, persons don't really want us to know who they chose. And in the club experience, when we were actually in person, we used to get a little ballot, right? We used to get somebody who would come and give us a slip of paper, or write on it, and it was private. By selecting this, you offer that anonymity, say that 3 times fast, to ensure that it doesn't say the person's name. However, what if what you're asking of persons, or let me give you another example of why you would use that, and you would use that. You're doing club officers training or some other form of training, and you want people to give an honest answer. I mean, after all, if Toastmaster Carol has a bunch of people that have to answer to her and they know that whatever they write about her training that they're going to see, you think they're going to honestly tell you the truth? Genuine
No.
question. No, I don't think so either. So you let persons know that this is an anonymous poll, and by doing that, you will get the honesty of the feedback without the names, which will most likely make people more likely to be willing to speak. I'm going to give you an example of how you can use this, which, by the way, I learned today and never thought of before. I've been having heaven and earth to get people to do the member interest survey. Am I the only one going through that? You send out the Google form until you're weak, 3 people answer you. You send it to people individually, 3 people answer you. You're in the meeting and, pardon? Go ahead. You're in the meeting, you say, all right, you know what? You're at home, you're busy. I'm going to take out a whole 20-minute chunk out of my meeting to ensure that everybody gets the opportunity to see this. Do they fill out the form? No. Today, I got a fabulous suggestion on what you can do. Once it's not like this, you can actually create the choices necessary to do the member interest survey using polls. Without selecting that, the members' names will come up. So when you pull the poll information, you will actually have your member interest survey without having to have them go off the platform. Will they all answer? Anybody who's been a Zoom master or done a poll before, you have 100 people at the meeting. How many people actually answer the poll?
Maybe 40% some of the time. If I, then
There
that's
you
a
go.
lot. Yeah.
There you go. But guess what? 40% is a lot more than the 3 people that will answer that Google form when you keep sending it around. So that covers a higher ground and makes it a lot easier for you when interacting with persons to do things that sending it to them on their own time becomes really difficult. You also have the survey option, which utilizes, for me, I see it pretty much as the same thing as a poll, except this is why I love survey. You get the joy of not only multiple choice and rating scales. Look, I'm happy today, everybody. I'll do a smiley face. You also get long answer. Why would you use that? Again, for me, it's the same thing. All right, if you notice out of habit, the first thing I did was press right there so to make sure whether or not it was in there, because in my mind I've created the procedure. So the first thing I do is allow, no, they're not in there. You know why? Because right in here, the question I am going to ask is, what is your Toastmasters goal? This TM year. And now that you all have seen how I typed and why it comes out like that, you will now understand that whenever I send you something, this is what is happening behind the scenes, right? So it took a while to get there without autocorrect. So unfair. Okay, there you go. Now that we're here and I've selected long answer, I now give the opportunity for persons to answer a question like this. Now, if this is an open-ended question. So if you look at the member interest survey, a lot of the times you need guidance, but I always select other, because what you believe people need and what they actually need might not actually be the same thing. So what you can do is select other, and under here on the survey, you can do that, go further and put the other. So that way you give them the opportunity to actually answer you if what you thought they should answer wasn't there. Because you have people who just will not answer because they don't see their answer. This gives them the opportunity to do it. On questions like this, if you notice, you'll see required. Ensure that nothing that is a long answer is ever required or people are not going to fill out the poll. No if, and, but, or maybe. But whenever I look at a poll and somebody makes the mistake of click required and tell me I have to write 200 words, that's Chinese water torture and you're looking to stress me. I will click the one answer or the four and say, all right, this is closest to what I think. There, multiple choice. But when you require me to think of 200 words to tell you, sometimes it can be really difficult. So I would recommend that whenever you're doing anything with a long answer, do not make it a requirement. So there you go. Now you have your rating scale. All right, I learned. I feel happy. Oh no, actually it should be how do you feel, right? That's the right way, right? How do you feel? We're not answering me?
Yes, how do you feel? How do you feel today?
Right. Okay, how do you feel today? So we do how do you feel today, and we have our rating scale for things like that. Was this a good training on a scale from 1 to 10? Was our trainer sensible? Did they know what they were talking about? I am likely to utilize this setting. I am likely to utilize survey. Not likely, extremely likely. These are the kind of surveys that help to garner information during the course of the meeting. And sometimes you'll hear trainers ask for polls and surveys. This is actually what they mean. And to assist trainers, it's much better to use a survey than a poll, because to certain things like the rating scale, it will allow you to give a bit of more detail than a poll with a point and click could actually do. All right, so are we good so far, or do we have any questions, or have I lost everyone completely?
One
Good.
question here.
Yeah.
Okay, sure, go ahead, Keisha.
Okay, I know when you're setting up polls, it has to be the host who creates the polls, right? But is it possible? I think it might not be, but just a clarification. Is it possible for when, say, Joni joins in as the host and gives host to Sean, can Sean create that poll?
No, you can launch the poll as a co-host, but only the account holder can create and edit the poll. And this is why. Now, for business accounts or for persons who have paid more, you're going to have a section that I'm going to show you where you can add another person to your actual Zoom account that would be allowed to act in lieu of host without being the account owner, which means they will be able to do some of the back end stuff, start the meeting, etc. And I'll get to that eventually. But when it comes to the creation of the polls, the surveys, and the editing of them, the person who owns the account has to be done. So either find somebody who you trust with your login, or create it yourself so that they can launch it. That answer your question, Toastmaster teacher?
Yes, it does.
All right, awesome. Toastmaster Verona.
Hello.
Toastmaster, hi.
Good afternoon. My question is, when it comes to doing the poll, can you have a before and after, and how would you do that?
Yes, you can. You can actually have up to 15 polls. It's 15 or 10. I'm trying to remember the exact number. Don't quote me, but you can have multiple polls and create them. What will happen is you have to create them here. So say you want a before the meeting starts poll to find out about everyone's orientation and what they understand. The trainer had a certain list of things. You can create that poll. You have another poll for a different set of trainers. So have you ever seen where you have a meeting with multiple polls being pulled up? It's not somebody going in and changing the same poll. You can create multiple polls beforehand. For example, best speaker, and then you create another one for best table topics. Then you create another one for best evaluator, and then it does not all have to go on one thing. You can actually create individual polls.
Okay,
Does that
just
answer your question?
not totally. Supposing you want to use it like a pre and a post test. So prior to this session, you wanted to see how much we knew about what you were going to talk about. And then at the end, you want to see how much we got from this session.
Now I understand what you're asking me. Registration would be it. The drama that everybody had to go through to get here. Did you notice that I had some questions on the form that were already there? Well, you can actually utilize that to gain information or to garner information. The registration is actually editable. So you actually have the option where you can see registration questions, where you can actually select the questions. The business accounts, I know, give you the opportunity to customize certain things. So like for me, I put question and comment there, and I would put a little note in question and comment, please state what you would be interested in, because you will receive the email or receive the information on it. So when you're signing up, you have the option to do this beforehand with these basic questions that Zoom already have there. I do believe that you can create your own questions. There you go. It's not just the business account. Did you look at that? So you can go on the registration field, select new question, put in the question. So for example, for today, I wanted to customize and I wanted it to be short answer. And I wanted to ask you, all right, so I have created my question and that will now go onto the registration question. This is how you have the opportunity to add. So you want to add another question because you said it's pre. The date works for me. All right, so you have the date and the time works for me. I want to do it as a single answer. Yes or no. All right, so I have done that. And there you go. That's another question that's now there on my registration form. So whenever I send it out to register, I can collect this information beforehand. Why do I Google instead of Zoom? I'm going to be completely honest, because for me, it's easier to collaborate on Google. Meaning, if I'm not the trainer, I would have to go in and pull it, while on Google, I get the opportunity to just, all right, so Carol is going to be my next trainer. And because she's going to be my next trainer, I need to share the information with her. If I put it on my Google account, she's not going to have privy to that information. I'm going to have to go onto Zoom, pull it off of Zoom, give it to her, ask her questions. While if I create a Google form, I can just drop her email in there, make her an editor, and she's able to do it. So that is why I prefer to use Google to Zoom. But if it is a case where you have a business account where you have multiple persons that can be added, that can go in and get the information on their own, or if it's a case where you have the time and you're willing to go through all of that and you don't want to miss a step, because unlike me who has 56 million places to be at the time, you have the time to pull it to get the registration form to do that kind of collaborative work, then you always have this as an option. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. In terms of the collation of the data, does Zoom do it for you?
It does actually, and we're going to get there eventually.
Okay, thank you.
You see, I told you at the beginning, you're wondering, why am I spending 3 hours on settings though, right? Right? Why would you need to be? No, you understand exactly how much occurs on Zoom.us before we even go onto the Zoom platform, for the Zoom platform to actually function effectively. So do we have anything else that we would like covered? We're following so far? I haven't lost everybody in here.
Following.
Okay, so you have the invitation link that you can actually copy here. You know, a lot of the times you see the invitation and you can copy it from here. Right. Now, these are for the upcoming meetings. Like I said, I'm currently in one, so you can see that, and I would not be able to edit it, but previous meeting. So we had the Canva training, right? So on the Canva training with Toastmaster Rachel, who everybody wanted to know about Canva. When you go on previous, you still have all the information there, as in the registrant. All of that information is still located here. So you can edit it, save it as a template. Meaning, again, if you're doing a whole heap of things that you don't want to have to do this thing over and over again, if you have a meeting that you constantly have to create, for example, a club meeting, every single thing is always going to be the same about that club meeting. Well, if that's the case, create a template. That way you don't constantly have to be typing in the same thing over and over and over again. And when I get back to the other section of the scheduling the meeting, you will understand why I said that. So we're going to schedule a meeting. Now we're going to have a meeting topic. This is me, so I would prefer to say, this is a test. All right. So we have this is a test right there. Now, you can add a description. Hopefully, everyone follows. All right, good. Now, when you have the date, notice when we set the date before we did year, month, day, and then the when comes year, month, day right there. So what you set in your settings in your profile will show up across the Zoom platform for you. So hopefully everybody follows, and I'm gonna do that today, and I'm going to set that meeting for a time that we are currently not on. So let's say 7:30, that way I don't get in the way. You can have it as the duration, how long you would want it to be there for. You can select there. So we'll go 5 hours. Time zone. Whatever you set in your preference will automatically be there. But Toastmaster Perla is in the Netherlands, so her home time zone isn't, say, AST, right? But her club is set up on the AST. Would she leave her time zone for the Netherlands?
Negative.
Right. Why? Because when she sets her time, it's not going to coincide. So it again gives you the option to change the time here when you're scheduling your actual meeting. Is registration required, or is it a recurring meeting? Again, I tell everybody I'm busy. I don't have the time to be going over things over again. But good, I'll just click start. I'm all right. I'll just click start each time. I don't have the time to keep redoing it. When that happens, you have a recurring meeting. But what did you notice happened when I clicked on recurring meeting?
It opens up another set of options trying to determine the parameters for when and how often you want to have this meeting reoccur.
Yes, that's the obvious answer. But the not obvious answer is you lose the chance at registration whenever you do it. Or if you can, I haven't figured out how to do that yet. So anybody who is a pro on this, please point it out and tell me, because the one thing I know is that I do not know everything, and there's always room for improvement. So if somebody has figured that part out, let me know We're all
Yeah,
here
yeah.
learning and sharing.
Absolutely. I've been trying to figure that out too, as well, because once you hit reoccurring, it removes the
It removes
registration.
the ability to register full stop. So
In
you're gonna,
all right.
go ahead, Sean.
No,
Go ahead.
no, I think I got around that recently. I don't remember how I did it though. When I did the one, I did for Division K recently. I assisted in setting up the repeat training for club officers, and I think I did it in daily or something. And I don't remember now, but I played around and got the registration to work. So the meetings would
Okay.
occur over a period, and people still were able to register in advance.
Okay. All right, so let's try it. We're testing. I still haven't figured out how to do this, so we're testing. All right, so we're going to go weekly. Weekly made it go away. Weekly, wait, hold on, let's see, required. We're gonna keep that there because we're testing it. By the way, this is how I learn most of what I do. We're testing it. So we're gonna go
There is
daily.
the,
It's still
so
there.
there's the registration information at the bottom there. Once you've pre-selected
All
it,
right.
so it remains selected in the background. What and it anyway, continue.
Yeah, it's okay. I get what you're saying. Here is the one that makes it go completely. No fixed time. It's no fixed time. That would explain why. All right. So you have a club that meets on multiple days. I usually put my recurring meetings on no fixed time. Gone. So what you have to do is keep in mind that when you're doing it, if you have a select time that you can select, case in point, daily, weekly, or monthly, then you can require registration. But if you're gonna go no fixed time, meaning that you can just open the room whenever you want to open the room, you can't have the registration. There we go, problem solved. And we fixed it here by trying. Okay. Oh. So you have the option of using your personal meeting room, or you can use a generated code, which would come up, by the way. So you can either use your personal meeting room, or you can utilize a generated meeting room. Case in point, this meeting is not on my meeting, my personal meeting code that I got. It's a generated code specifically for this meeting. And I did it so I can have individual numbers for each one, because each training is going to be registered as an individual thing. Have I lost everybody yet?
No.
No?
Still
All right,
here.
good. All right, awesome.
May I
So-
ask another question?
That's why we're here. Go right ahead.
How did you get it connected to the Chrome?
How did I get it connected to the Chrome? All
Mhm.
right, I'll show you how I got it connected to the Chrome. I did this. Oh, thank God, nothing is on it to scare everybody. And I typed in zoom.us. I pressed enter. And when I did that, I just signed in. See, it says my account right there. And all I had to do was sign in. And once I signed in, I was able from there to access all of that information. It really is that simple. And I did it on the tablet specifically because everybody is used to the computer.
So
I like to
it's
demonstrate.
basically, sorry, it's basically the browser that you're in, whatever browser you're in. So if, for instance, you're not on Chrome, you're on Bing, would it come up with Bing or something like that?
Yeah, zoom.us. It doesn't matter your browser. Like I said, I'm just Google run my head. I have a Google Pixel phone. I'm that bad. I'm just a Google girl. Google just works for me. You know, like how you have iPhone people, I'm a Google person. I'm Google indoctrinated, and I didn't even try. So I prefer Chrome as a browser. It doesn't mean that it doesn't come up on every other browser. Just type in zoom.us and sign in, and that will take you to your settings no matter what the browser is that you're on. All right, so we were here and we had chosen to generate a passcode You can either choose to have one automatically generated, or in my case, because a lot of the times I like to use the passcode as an emphasis. So, okay, 4. This is where you change the passcode. And this is how come you have some people with a word or a note or something like that as their passcode, while you have other people that just have a number generated. It's because they changed it right there. Now, in my case, you can see that I do have the waiting room enabled. Everybody who came into this meeting had to come in through the waiting room. And it's really important. You need to have, well, you don't need to have your waiting room enabled, but I can tell you that it helps. It helps whenever you're in the meeting and you're doing something case in point, you're setting up. You're talking to your team members, your Zoom team, the whole 9 yards. Do you want somebody to just pop in out of nowhere in the middle of you discussing? No. And setting up the waiting room is how you do that. But unless you select it, it won't be there. Yes, sir, Master Pearl, you can go ahead.
Sorry for every minute disturbing, but with the
What we're supposed
waiting,
to do.
with the waiting room, right? Can you, for instance, have like music or stuff in the waiting room while they wait? The reason, no? Okay, the reason I'm asking that is because we usually open a room, a breakout room. We call it our vibe room. And the guests or the people who's coming in, they pass through the main room, we greet them, and then send them to this vibe room. Should the waiting room have me be able to do music, then we don't even have to do that.
All right, I can tell you what you can do in the waiting room when I get there, because I'm going to show you how to customize your waiting room. Actually, Toastmaster Sean is going to actually tell you that, because he is the one who I saw do it first and then just had to figure it out. If you notice that you had a cute little video that was playing when you were coming onto the meeting, you can actually customize that area to put almost anything that you want, which includes a video clip or any form of music that you want. Unfortunately, now we can talk to people that are in the waiting room as well. So when we get to the actual waiting room and how to set that up, I'll make sure that I stop there and pay special attention on how to customize there in the only way we can. But if you're asking if we can broadcast music from the main room to the waiting room, not yet. But for a very long time, we couldn't actually talk to the people in the waiting room with Zoom upgraded, and we can now do. We have our video require authentication to join. People don't do it. Don't do it if you're having a community meeting that you want everybody to join in, because if people don't sign into them Zoom, they will never get on, and I learned that the hard way. I make sure it says sign into Zoom. Now you have the security that if you have a Zoom bomber, you will have their email address to block them. But you also have the issue of most of the people who are on are not technologically savvy. So sometimes, and in some cases, persons just cannot log in. And that is also an issue, because quite a few people join from the browser. And once you have that requirement to sign in there, it will block a few people from your meetings. So when it comes to security, I will suggest some other things as it relates to on-platform things that you can do, but I would not recommend doing that if you want an easy life and not to be called 56 million times before your meeting starts. So you have video with the host participants. If you notice, mine says off. I don't think that was what was happening today, because it shouldn't. I don't remember selecting that. Or maybe I didn't deselect it, is always a possibility. But because you have to register for the meeting or register to be here, I'm going to assume that authentication is by default necessary, because if you have to register, you have to log in using the account you registered from. So even if I don't have require authentication, because they have to check if you did sign up for the meeting, technically, yes, it would happen even if you don't select it. So yeah, that is probably what happened today. So we're going on to the host, video, and participants. Mine is big off. I don't play with off. I have seen things that people just should not see because somebody was nice enough to put on. Now, I know the Toastmasters experience wants us to engage persons and have them have their camera on, but not everybody remembers that some meetings have their camera on. If you notice, Zoom has a nice little thing now that says with or without video, because there have been people who have entered the meeting not remembering that their video was on. And you get to see more than you wanted to see of people. So that's I, by default, set mine to off. Hi, Sanandre, go ahead.
Never mind, never mind.
Okay, so I set mine to off. The reason why it's on is that you will get that little pop-up that says, do you want to join with or without? But they look so similar. One is blue and one is gray. But to me, honestly, they look so similar that even I sometimes get confused. Like if one was red for off and one was blue, then I'd be like, all right, well, the red one, red means danger, red means stop. So that means stop video. But because it's gray, a lot of the times I am like, I have to look back again and go without. Now, you see, when you're rushing and people like me that you can see the letters, them don't work too well and the color scheme look like almost the same thing to me, you're setting yourself up to see more of Joni than you really want to see at any given time joining your meeting. So I put it off. And I'm just explaining to you why I choose off, but you can choose to change the option to whatever you are comfortable with, because everybody in Toastmasters tends to want it to, you know, for interaction to be on. When it comes to audio settings, you have telephone, computer, telephone and computer, third-party audio. I just click on telephone and computer because I've seen people dialing on them phone. I don't know why, but they do. So I just leave it there because I mean, if I'm not using it, but it's there and I don't need it, then I don't put it and I need it. Options. You can allow participants to join at any time. I personally don't like that because people can just pop up on you. And you know what? I've gone to people's meetings where I'm sitting there. I tell you, I have time zone issues. And I'm sitting there, just me, myself, and I enjoying the meeting. And nobody else is there. And I am a whole 2 hours ahead because they're in another time zone. And I'm just sitting in the meeting, ever so lovingly waiting. And after about 15 minutes, yeah, because it does take me that long to realize, we do realize you've been sitting here for 15 minutes and nobody else has joined. To message a person to go on in your meeting and nothing is happening and they go, oh, well, we don't start for another 2 hours. When you allow people to join at any time, one, you don't get you don't get that notification. This person has gone into your waiting room, and two, somebody can just be sitting in your meeting for how long? And you would have no clue because you don't get notified, and they would have no clue that it actually hasn't officially started yet because they can just pop in at any time. You can pre-assign breakout rooms. I've never done it. I prefer to do it on platform. You can request permission to unmute participants. I tried that. The reason why it's not selected is that I unmuted somebody. They said yes, you know, but where they were, I unmuted them. And when I unmuted them, I heard a conversation I did not want to hear. And ever since then, I prefer to just do the ask to unmute. Because when you say to somebody in a meeting, request the ability to unmute, there are certain things like I have no control over the fact that I now have to go tell my son to get up and do something, right? So I gave you permission at the beginning of the meeting, you know, because I know I'm gonna do something. But then right now I have to go say something to my son. And when I do, you happen to be unmuted when I'm screaming out, yes, you really need to. And that is what you're gonna hear in your meeting. It's some of the safety precautions that I was explaining as to why I don't do it, because the outcome of, though it's more convenient, it could work out to be very detrimental depending on the circumstance within which you unmute someone. And you have enabled additional data center and regions for this meeting. I have that Don't ask me exactly what it means. I'm going to show you Zoom support for all the things that I am big on question sign for. But I do believe that's to report back to Zoom as it relates to anything that's happening. Don't quote me on that one. And it is also something that I don't use. But I'm going to show you the area that you can go find out this information even without me before we get to the end of this. They have approve or block entry from users from specific regions. Because Toastmasters come from all over the world, and I know people from all over the world who would want to visit all over the world, and club members can go to all over the world, I would not suggest utilizing that option. And basically, after you do that, you press save. So are there any questions or anything anybody would like to explain as it relates to meeting, or anywhere I lost you as it relates to meeting that you'd like to follow up while I say something to a small chat?
Joni, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I was looking at my settings when you were presenting, and there are a few options in the options section that I am not seeing, and this is a Zoom Pro as well. So I'm not sure where you had breakout rooms. I don't have that option. If you scroll back down to options, that I see is missing. When it comes on to audio, where you have telephone, computer, audio, both, and then you had a third-party audio, that option is not on mine. So I'm not sure what's the difference, or if I have to go and do another upgrade. So what else is I see? I see enable in your option, enable additional data center regions for meeting. I don't have that option.
Hey, Toastmaster Joni, you're muted.
That's because of my settings. That's because of my settings. We're going to get there eventually when I get down to my actual settings, but that's because of my settings. Yes, Toastmaster Verona, you can go ahead. Now you see why we're spending three whole hours on just the settings.
That section you didn't mention was the alternate host. Could you just say something about that piece? How do you use that section?
This is the part that I skip over because it's so work and it's painful. No, I have a business account and I want Toastmaster Achilles to be able to start the meeting. Now, I know Toastmaster Achilles Zoom information. I can basically put that in here and save it, but it's usually, like I said, happens on business accounts that will allow Toastmasters Achilles to act as an alternate host, meaning they can add and edit polls. You see, like how I have that there, allow alternative hosts to add and edit polls. So just like how only I can do it because I own the account. When I add an alternative host to the meeting there, and it's only one meeting, Toastmaster Achilles is not going to get the chance on all of my Zoom platform to just create meetings anytime he wants. No, for this specific meeting, I'm going to allow him to start it, edit the polls and the Zoom master. You can actually do that on business accounts. On the personal account so far, every single time I try to add somebody, because for some of my meetings, like for Platinum, I have a sergeant at arms. I want the sergeant at arms to be able to pull the poll. But every single time I enter his Zoom ID, it tells me not found. So until I get over that hump as to why it keeps telling me not found, I tend to hop over that. But that is what that is actually for. And yes, I have seen it work because I have been added to, my free account has been added to other persons' accounts, and I've acted as a host on their behalf.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And thank you for pointing that out because I did just jump right past it. Webinars. What can I say about webinars? They're convenient if you're doing a conference or something huge with a lot of participants. I think personally it defeats the purpose of the Toastmasters experience and the Toastmasters Club experience. So it exists. If you're interested, I'll show you where to get further information. That is not this training. We have the other option, which is phone. It says upgrade to unlock feature. This is a new one that I have not used, so I have no clue how it works, so I would not be able to answer that one. Personal contacts. Yeah, my apologies. I didn't want you guys to see more of a small boy than you actually should. And this is why we do not allow people to have the camera on at all times, right? So it says here, you can actually upload personal contacts on Zoom if you would like, and you actually have that ability using the CSV files. For those of you on the Toastmasters International website who've ever pulled the data there, that's usually the format that it comes in to allow you to be able to do that. Whiteboards. I've never liked annotation much, and since people like to write on the screen when people are doing things, it actually does annoy me. Based on that fact, I like the fact that they've added the whiteboard feature, because the whiteboard feature now gives you the opportunity to interact and collaborate on a time that you set and in a format that you set. Now it comes with a number of different templates that you can actually utilize. And as you can see, this is a new feature. So you have different types of templates that you can use, and you can share it along with persons, or in my case, I've had a few that have been shared with me that I just choose to keep in case I have to go back. The collaborative thing about it is because I was in these meetings and had access to the whiteboards, I can go back after the fact to revisit. While with annotation, you don't get that option. You just write on the screen at the time. I know they have cute little templates. These are, all right. So this is from where you can actually create your whiteboard. As it relates to the details of how you would go about creating your whiteboard, for all of these, you have different things that you can utilize when you are doing it, and they have some predetermined formats that you can actually select. This is something, however, that I'm going to advise that you go in and take the time to touch, feel, and play around with on your own. Just to state that you have the pencils, things like that to draw, and anybody who's ever used Microsoft Paint, this means text, and this is how you would write stuff on it. But whiteboards, I can tell you, is a training all to themselves. I would suggest just clicking on whiteboard and going on there and navigating it on your own to figure it out. And if at the end we have time, I'll go back and we can point and click and figure that part out. Shared with me, like I said, is one of my favorites because these are whiteboards that people already use and have already shared with me. Now for recordings, whenever we save to the cloud, I don't have much space. I haven't bought additional Zoom space. Knowing where this is will be your friend. And why will it be your friend? Because whenever people say, oh, where can I find the recording? Literally, that's where you find it, under recordings. You can download from here, right where it says processing. On a normal basis, if you click on there, you'll see the ability to download the different files that would be located right there. Now here we go to set your settings. Toastmaster Carl had said, Joni, there are some things that you have that I just don't have. And quite possibly it's because it may just not be enabled here. Now remember I said to you, what is it that no, let me ask, what is it that we're supposed to look for to know that a setting has been enabled?
The blue.
Blue box.
Thank you. The blue box is there. Now, by default, you will see that this one is on and it's blue, but there's nothing you can do about it. It's a default feature that Zoom ain't gonna allow you to change. So you have the waiting room options. Mine are enabled. When it comes to the waiting room, right? You can edit your waiting room options. Who should go in the waiting room? I put everybody. I prefer to admit. That's one of my security features. I'll let you in. All right, so sort order of people in the waiting room. You can do join order or alphabetical order. It really is up to you. I have never tested the alphabetical order. I can see why there would be a need for it, because it would make it, say you have 200 people and I need to find Toastmaster Jasmine. If I had it in alphabetical order, it would probably make more sense. So I'm gonna put it in alphabetical order. Now you have more options where you can allow the participants in the waiting room to reply to host. I enabled that, which is how come I could talk to you while you're in the waiting room. But guess what? If this is not on, you will never see it and you will never be able to do it. So you have to ensure that you select that tab to make sure that that can be done. You can actually have the option of letting people in, but no, I prefer to let you in, I'm sorry, or have a participant screen monitor. It's just a me thing, so I will never enable that. But you have the option where host or co-host can bypass the waiting room and just go straight into the meeting. That works, by the way, for the persons you've added as alternate hosts, meaning if you have an account and you've added somebody, I've added Toastmaster Carla, start my meeting, or Toastmaster Kentisha. She is the SAA of the club and she is going to start the meeting because I might not be able to do that, and I've empowered her to be able to do that. When I do this, it gives her the opportunity to start the meeting and bypass the waiting room, as opposed to me having to start the meeting, let her in, and then make her co-host. All right, so if the host and the co-host are not present, or if they lose connection in the meeting, notice mine is not selected. It says move participants to the waiting room if the host drops off unexpectedly. You notice I did not select that? You notice that is so not selected? Why do you think that's not selected? Or why does everybody think I would not under any circumstance select that from my waiting room?
I think, is that a security reason?
No.
Mm, okay.
Internet drops so often.
They would miss.
How many times that people would be in the waiting room till them weep? How many times do you see how many of me are on? How many of me are on very specifically because one have mobile data and one is on the Wi-Fi. So if the Wi-Fi drops, we're going on the mobile data, and I still have somebody here to stand as host because it will move to one of them. Now, can you imagine if every single time the host of the meeting drop off, everybody end up in the waiting room, the kind of tragedy we would have? It would not be pretty at all. So I ensure that that's not selected. However, depending on what you're doing, you may need that. And if you do, you have that option. All right. So we are going to go to, go ahead, Toastmaster Carol.
Johnny, the more options allow participants in the waiting room to reply to host and co-host. That box you enable it, right? But it says by enabling this, all participants using older version of Zoom will be asked to upgrade. Is it that they will have to upgrade prior to joining the meeting?
You're going to say that to them and it's going to upgrade them. Yeah, once you try to come on, it's going to upgrade them. Have you ever gone to an IT Wizards meeting?
Yes.
Oh,
I love
yeah.
IT Wizards
Oh,
because I
yeah.
go for upgrade my system. When I go IT
I
Wizards, I
did.
log on and
Okay.
everything.
And I'm
I
almost sure it happened to me today too, because I was like, what is upgrading?
Yeah,
Okay.
that is because I've enabled that. And it's a good free upgrade opportunity whenever somebody has that. Why? Remember, I said we never used to be able to do it. So people
Right.
who have been on Zoom from Wapikill Phillip, I had to throw that in somewhere, wouldn't and have the old version of Zoom. A lot of people don't set Zoom to automatically update. So unless something prompts them, they will stay on the old version that does not offer that. It don't have whiteboard, it don't have spaces, it don't have anything. And because of that, that is why things like that occur and you get the chance to get the upgrade and probably why it did upgrade you. You have the most recent version of Zoom, you are welcome. Go ahead,
Thank you.
Toastmaster, continue.
I'm going to upgrade now. Change that set.
The option that you made with respect to the alternate person who can be an alternate host, can that be given to more than one person or just one person?
Yes, it can. In some cases, especially for business accounts, I've seen up to 10. There's one that says up to 10 persons.
For a pro account?
So that's the thing. I don't know. I've been trying to add, and I think I saw that you could do it for multiple.
Okay.
But because I have not been able to successfully add persons, I'm going to give everybody homework. You know, if you are able to do it on your account, please let me know so we can share it. Because like I said, we're all learning and growing together. It's not just about me, it's about us doing it together. So I can't get it to work. Not because Joni knows a lot about Zoom, you know. Joni can be daft with certain things. And I can tell you that you guys have taught me quite a lot with stuff that you know how to do. So don't look at it as, I know all things Zoom, I'm not the developer, and even the developer probably learns a thing or two from us giving feedback, which I've signed up to do. That's the point. We share information for this specific reason. I can't get it to work for the life of me. Doesn't mean that you might not try something, think of something, and if it works, and if it does, please let us know. I just know that right there is where you put in their username. So like you'd put in my username, toastmasterjonilade@gmail.com. Please don't use that one because that's my paid account and I don't want people to play with my settings. So you can put in my free account, joniladelaw@gmail.com. And if it pops up and gives me the opportunity to do it, I will be very happy. That is another thing that I also advise. If you have a paid account and you have a free account, share the free one. There is a small boy. My apologies. He had to find a way to be involved in my training. So did that answer your question, Toastmaster Khadija?
Sure, it did. Thanks.
Toastmaster Carol, I see your hand.
Sorry, I joined late, but can you just explain to me how you make somebody a host or co-host? Thank you.
A host or co-host on your meeting options. I'm checking to see if it's at the bottom of this as well. I will go back up shortly. All right, I do have to go back to schedule meetings. All right, so when you're scheduling a meeting, so when you go to meetings and you go to schedule a meeting, at the bottom of this, it allows you to give persons the opportunity to be an alternate host of your meeting when you're going to polls. You can actually do that, and it can also allow them to start the meeting for you. So you can do it there on the scheduling. My memory serves me that it is somewhere on this as well. If we get past it, I'll show you where you can add it there, but usually it's on the scheduling. I see another hand. Yes, Toastmaster Kentisha.
That just raised the question by myself. If it is that you
Oh,
already have a reoccurring meeting and it wasn't on it, you can just go and edit that reoccurring meeting and add that person as an alternate. Awesome. Thank you.
That's why I showed you the edit button first.
I didn't even see.
The edit button is our friend. Especially if you're like me and 5 minutes after you go and go, oh, I didn't remember that. I was supposed to add that. Why didn't I do that? The edit button is our friend. You can change it anytime. Nothing is set in stone. Well, until after the meeting starts or ends. As in, once you get off the platform or you've started the meeting, that's when it matters. So I was going to show you how to customize the waiting room. Now, if you notice, we have this beautiful hotness of picture right there. And when you join the waiting room, you see this beautiful video. Toastmaster Sean, don't think you're going to come here to look pretty. You're going to do work. Can you please ensure that you state for me how you go about doing this? Because I know you know how to do it. You are the first person who I saw do it.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So this falls under the meeting room setup as it suggests here, customizing your waiting room. You have three options as you see on the screen. You have the default screen, which is what many of you are used to when you join a room. It could say, waiting for the host to let you in, welcome to the meeting. Then you have the logo and description. Generally, as a good practice, especially if you are using this for an organization, the Zoom account, or you're a club, or whatever club you're affiliated with. It could be a Toastmaster, it could be Rotary, it could be Key Club, whatever the club experience. It would be good to consider as a suggested best practice, as is their logo and description. In the logo and description option, as it suggests, you'll have your logo. As the trainer shared earlier, each logo has to meet a specific requirement for it to be uploaded. As it says there on the screen, it has to be 60 pixels or it cannot exceed 400 pixels, because if it does, it won't be uploaded. It gives you a few file options as these are all flattened images largely, JPEG, PNG, and GIF files. GIF files are files that have a little bit of animation on them, like what you saw Joni played earlier with that video coming. That could be a GIF file. Now in here, it gives you lots of room to make the first contact with your attendees or meeting participants as welcoming as possible. I used the video once. Now there are various ways you can use the video. I recorded myself giving a welcome and uploaded it right here. Now, as it suggests there, the video should be greater than X amount of time. But when you do have a waiting room video, I think there should be a practice of allowing persons to stay in the waiting room for at least 30 seconds or 45 seconds. Why? If you have a video there and the video has important information that you want to disseminate, then you want to give them a chance to digest, all the creativity you put into putting that information out. So how you do this, you could, if you're on a local PC, I've never done it on a phone, so I recorded the information using my video app editor on my laptop, saved it in a folder somewhere. Then I reviewed it to ensure it met the time specification I wanted. And then after I've done that, I came here to the meeting room settings, went to video, select the video, uploaded it, watched it, saved it, tested it, by opening the meeting from another device and trying to see how it plays. And that also gives me a time idea as to how long the video runs for. So if I'm assigning someone to be the monitor for the waiting room, or I'm doing it myself, I see someone enter the room, instantly as they enter the room, I know I need to give them X amount of time so they can appreciate the information that's there. I don't know if I've said enough, or if anyone has any question, or you want me to clarify any other thing, Joni, on this. But it's a really, really cool tool, like I said, to get to understand, and it does add tremendous value to the meeting experience upon entry.
Yes, it does. And the beauty of it is I have a video that does not contain sound, but you can actually make a video that has sound on it, because as you can see, you have the option to play with sound as well. You also get the chance while uploading here to not only view it as it would be on the computer, but if you click beside it, you get to see the view that persons would have on the phone as well. So some things may translate well on the computer, but would look terrible on the phone screen. And this is a good way to see both options to say, it look good on the computer, so, but people on the phone will not be able to see or understand what's happening. Maybe I have to change the dimensions or put it a different way. The writing is too small. I might have to change that. By clicking on this view up here, you get to see it as computer view or as a phone view, which will help you as it relates to your layout of how that video looks. Here in title, you get to write what the person sees. Notice when you came in, you saw welcome to the, and at the bottom, whatever the meeting name is. So for every meeting I host, it would always say welcome to the, because most of the time what I have following it is Platinum Artistic Toastmasters Club meeting. So I put the. It didn't work with set your settings. So I know for future reference, because I have welcome to the, that all of my meetings are going to be called welcome to the Set Your Settings training with trainer Joni Laidlaw, so that it makes sense when people read it. So those are the little tips that you can think of based on there. How do you upload the video? Right on the video where that is, you will see, right now it's, all right. Upload video. So from there, you can get it from your machine. In my case, I'm on the tablet. So if I have a video folder on my tablet, I can upload it from the tablet. On your computer, it will do the same thing. You would upload your video from there. These are the formats that it takes. It has to be 30 megabytes, an MP4, an MPV file. Just always check there if you're finding that it's not working, because quite possibly it just could actually be too big. And if you cut it, edit, make it smaller, then you can upload the video. So now that we've customized our waiting room and people are in, oh, look at that, it's so pretty. They have a video on their background. Meeting passcode. So when it comes to the meeting passcode, I put it that all meetings have to have a passcode because I want all my meetings to have a passcode. You don't have to, it is up to you. Again, this is why you set your settings. Yes, Toastmaster Perla, go ahead.
Sorry, just before you go on, if you have that video for the waiting room, it will stay there for all your meetings until you take it on, right? It's not going to be like every time you have to change it or load it back up or anything.
All of them. Every single meeting that Toastmaster Joni's account hosts, you see this on all of them. Why isn't there a specific logical logistics meeting? Because I host meetings along the course of this training. And what would have to happen is, say I do a really nice logical logistics Tech Up Toastmasters video and I put it up. When Platinum's meeting is being hosted, everybody is going to see logical logistics Tech Up Toastmasters video. And I might not remember to change it because I'm rushing or I have something else to do. So always keep that in mind. And that's a very good point, that once your waiting room has been customized, it goes on every single one of the meetings across the board.
Thank you. You're going to be seeing our creative for sure.
All right. Awesome sauce. So we're going to move on to passcode. If you don't want a passcode, meaning you don't want a password, just turn that off after all. And then you can just give persons one number to put in. Me, I want a password. I'm sorry, I need a password. Security, I need a password. For your personal meeting, I have my own passcode. You click show to see it. And again, I wanted it, so I enabled it. Require passcode for participants joining by phone. I turned it on as well because when it comes to anything password, why not? Embed password in the link, click for one-click join. Who's had this happen to them? Have you gone on a meeting and they give you the link and you click it and then it come up and it say what is the password? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
That happens to me all the time and it annoys me no end, especially when I'm rushing. That's because they did not turn that on. If you don't embed the invite link for a one-click join, you are always going to get asked, or you're going to always be asking persons for the password, and it won't work. So that's why you need to turn that on. Only authenticated meeting participants and webinar attendees can join meeting. We know why mine is off, right? I went through that story with you as to why mine is off. I put it on. Security, you notice if it says password, it's on for security because there was a Zoom bomb and I'm paranoid. I proceeded to turn that on. I've never had so many phone calls in my life about not being able to get onto a meeting. I got so many calls that the thought of having to have 50 calls before a meeting started made me think, you know what, maybe Zoom bomber come, it's all right. It won't offend the sensibility so much, it's too difficult. And that's why mine is actually off. Because most of the time, depending on the circumstances that people find themselves in, they might not be able to authenticate. Now, for something like this that I can pre-explain and know from the beginning that, listen, yeah, people go and call me, but it's one. It's very different from every single week. Because I try it 1 week at a time and I say, all right, maybe next week everybody will get it. It was the first time teething pains. We're going to do it right this time. No, it did not. I got so many calls that before the Toastmaster even reached to the GE, I wanted to turn off my phone and go and lie down in my bed. That was how many calls, messages, text, and WhatsApp. I can't get on. How I get on? So I explain that to say sometimes the good have to suffer for the bad. Don't make any sense because of one Zoom bomber, I nearly drove myself and entire club crazy when I just kick you out and block you. That's way easier. And everybody who wants to come on comes on. And if one bad person comes on one day, kick them out and block them email. And if I can't kick them out and block them email, just kick them out. I doubt severely they love my club that much to keep coming back, right? So don't let the good suffer for the bad with this. If you find that by turning it on, you're making it difficult on your members, especially for those who are not savvy as it relates to technology and getting around it, turn it off. All right, so if the waiting room is enabled, phone-only users will be placed in the waiting room. I block everyone from joining by default. Again, let me let you in, or let somebody I know who I've made co-host let you into the meeting. I prefer to everybody just goes in there. All right, so block users in specific domain from joining meetings and webinars. As you can see, mine is off. I don't want to block anybody from anywhere, but you have that opportunity if you care to. Only authenticated users can join meeting from web clients. Remember, I say most of the time for most people, it's easier to just join from the browser. So they go on the browser because when my computer was giving me heaven and earth, what happened was I had to join from the browser. I could not sign in. I could not sign in for anything. So when I joined, I would actually literally just have to join the meeting from the browser. You know that little join up there that you see, and I was not signed in. Now, if somebody turned that on, I would never get into their meeting. I would never be able to get into their meeting because I was unable, no fault of mine, the computer just was not working on Zoom. Find out now it's just Windows was being mean and blocked it. But that was the only way I could get on. So you do limit participation and it could hurt others. So I leave it off. However, the choice is yours. If for security and protection, you want to have it on. But I'm gonna be honest, it is a good suffering for the bad, and the bad can always get out and blocked. And I don't think one really strange, because the Zoom bomber sent a very strange picture. One really strange picture, I don't think is enough to give people enough psychological damage, but constantly having to be annoyed by Zoom and raising your stress level just might. So lesser of two evils. All right, approve or block entry from specific countries or region. I don't have a reason to do that. So I'm not blocking anybody. We're an international club. I want everybody to come visit. I'm not blocking anybody. So schedule meeting, host video. As you can see, mine is off. Because again, sometimes Joni is just not aware. Or I might have to start the meeting on the road or start the meeting somewhere where you can't see my background. I keep it off. I keep participants' video off as well. I prefer an opt-in approach to the video than an opt-out approach to the video. I think everybody knows what that means, right? I prefer for you to choose to turn on your camera than for you to choose to turn off your camera, because the possibility of what I could see, I might not want to see, and what you would be sharing. So I leave mine off, because you always have the option, if you start with it off, to opt in and just turn it on. Audio type, we went over that when I was doing the settings. I just did telephone and computer audio. Allow participants to join before the host. My default setting overall is ain't happening. That is off. You might want to do something else for whatever reason. So that's there, and you get the opportunity to do that. Zoom rooms. I've tried Zoom rooms. I have not figured out Zoom rooms, but again, don't worry. I'm going to drop this cute little thing in the chat for you that you can go about finding this out for yourself if you're interested, because I believe in empowerment. And if you do, and you figure out Zoom rooms and you find it fabulous, come back and let us know, because I will be happy for the additional information. It's just something that I've never seen the point it doesn't help, and it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I have not utilized that or seen the need for it, to be completely honest. All right, so enable meeting ID. We know that that was already there from when we were scheduling the meeting. It's on. I have my own personal ID. Use personal meeting ID when scheduling the meeting. That was also on that on the schedule area. I have it off because in some cases like this, I want different numbers, not just for the names. I want different numbers for each meeting. So each one gets an automatic generation, because over the course of this training, I'm scheduled to have 12 different days of training. In total, 15 trainings, but 12 different days. I want each one to have its own number. And if I use my personal ID for all of them, I don't get that. So in that case, it's why I have that off. So I have the functionality of both. I can do what I want. I can use my meeting room if I want, or I can schedule it and have a generated number and another password. Add watermark. I like this, but mine is off. And there's a reason why I don't, because knowing me, I'm gonna put the Toastmasters branding all over it and forget that, listen, Joni, it's your meeting. Bad enough that everybody coming into my waiting room, going to everything Toastmasters. Can you just imagine that in the middle of my big meeting, all you see is the big Toastmasters logo or watermark spread out on the back? Now, if you have a club Zoom account, which by the way, Toastmasters is giving you 30% off, and I will drop the link in the group, the WhatsApp group, for how you can go about getting your club thing at the discount from Toastmasters, along with that FAQ. This is not that training. You can actually just brand it, put the watermark, and you will see the Toastmasters logo on the back of your meeting at all times. Mute all participants when they join the meeting. People, there are 2 times I'm going to preach along this training. This is the first one. Please, for my sake and my sanity as Zoom master, turn that on by default. When people log in, and when they join, it's automatically unmuted. It's annoying for everybody, because when people are in the middle of talking, it interrupts the meeting. Mute on entry by default. knows that somebody has to have deliberately or over accidentally. It's not just them joining the audio, and when they join the audio, the mic open. When you put mute on entry, when they join the audio, it remains muted. So that will save the interruption of every single time you let people into your meeting. You have to watch them to make sure so them see that them unmuted, and mute Zoom will do it for you automatically. Please, please save me by turning that one on, even if you don't like it. If you're ever going to ask me to Zoom master, please turn it on. Or if you're going to invite me to your club to do something, please turn it on, because I've been in other people's meetings where literally somebody comes in there unmuted and I go to the participant screen out of habit and I go, wait, but I'm not the host of this meeting. So put mute on entry to save me from in the middle of giving my evaluator speech and bring up the participant screen to mute first. Upcoming meeting reminders, I have that on. I like it. I do a lot. I can't remember everything. My brain is in WhatsApp. Google runs my head. Putting on the reminders gives me the opportunity that even if I forget where I'm supposed to be, it's still there. Meeting templates, I have not turned it on because I prefer to save it from the scheduling, but you can do it there as well. For the in-meeting basics, you have require encryption. I have never used it, so I didn't turn it on. Meeting chat. This is your chat option. Now, I think everybody has their chat on in some way, shape, or form, but you can actually, from here, select how you want persons to talk. Host and co-host only, everyone, just like you do in meeting. I set mine by default to everyone because I prefer to change the chat on platform as opposed to remembering each time to open the chat. There are fewer cases, just like there are fewer cases for the need to close the chat to host only. For example, when you're doing a contest and you don't want people to talk anymore, there are fewer cases that will require host and co-host only than would require everyone to speak. So I always say, if you're gonna do the settings, default to the one that you use the most. That's my logic. You can do host and co-host only, and then you keep having to change it every time you go to the meeting. But I think logically, default to what you use every day. Default to what is going to happen every day. Again, why I asked you to put in mute and entry. Now, meeting chat direct messages. Have you ever been in a meeting and you cannot talk to persons directly? It's because they didn't turn that on. So while you can talk to everybody and everybody can talk to you as host, they didn't turn on the ability for us to talk to each other. And I don't know why they want to know what I have to say to Toastmaster Jerry. That is me and Toastmaster Jerry's business. Why do you need to hear? So based on that, you have to turn that on in order to allow persons to be able to talk to each other during the course of the meeting. Meeting chat autosave. Mine is off for a very specific reason. Whenever my Zoom would drop, which we did explain that it kicks in quite a lot. Whenever my Zoom would drop, I would have to wait to rejoin because it was auto-saving the chat. So I turn mine off. And if I have the need for the chat, I'll save it. I'll press save at the time. When I say, no, I have to save this chat, I need this information, I will, in the meeting, save it. So that's why mine is off. But if it's a case where you like tracking the chat and you like that information because you need it, you can turn it on. But again, I set my settings to what I default to needing most of the time. So notification when somebody joins and leaves. This is where I'm going to have a moment of silence.
Oh no.
I told these two things I'm going to preach on today. People, don't turn it on. Do not turn it on. Don't. If you want me to leave your meeting, you see at one time when I just started this Zoom thing, I was able to deal with the ping, 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 ping. And then by the time I ended up leaving the meeting, I had a terrible headache and an awful case of Zoom fatigue. That noise Grate my nerve. Does it serve a purpose? Yes. Can you enable it from in the meeting? Say, for example, you're going to be Zoom master and you're going to have to step away from looking directly at the screen. So you need some form of, because you see, I have headsets that I can move with. So I can get up and I can move from here. And for the minute, I need the time so that if somebody comes in to join the meeting, I'm away from it. I need that kind of reminder. That's fine. But I don't want to hear that all through the meeting, because what people do when they do that out of, oh, I just want a notification, is that they don't realize that they're not the only one being notified. Everybody else in the meeting is also being driven up the wall. So please, 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 I will volunteer if you have to step away to admit people, but please don't turn that on. Or I've just taken the approach that if I hear it one too often, I just will leave. I message people sometimes, I ask, but don't. The level of pain and headache that's caused by that noise, believe me when I tell you, and I'm not the only person, it's not worth having on. And it doesn't only say join, it says joins or leave. Do you know what that actually means? It means that when people leave the meeting or them drop off, and for those of us who have dropped off of a meeting 6 or 7 million times, imagine the level of ping ping that the rest of people had heard. So one person come in with a bad connection. Oh, so please, I'm asking you, leave that off. You can enable it in the meeting, and I will show you where to enable it in the meeting. Or distinguished Toastmaster Shannari will, if we get on platform at this time, because see, almost 2 hours, and we don't even finish the settings yet. All right, so send files via meeting chat. This is, have you ever been in a meeting and you're trying to upload a file, the agenda, PDF document, something, and you cannot for the life of you get it to upload, and you wonder why you're not seeing that little box in the corner to upload it? That's why. If that's not on, you will never be able to. And there's no way to enable that in the meeting settings. That's not there in the meeting settings. So you have to ensure that you actually have that enabled from here, or you won't be able to see, that little thing that looks like the folded paper beside the smiley face emoji that's in the chat. This is how you enable it. All right, I did not select only allow specific file types for a very specific reason. I might want to add a Word document. I might want to add a PDF file. I don't want to limit myself to what can be done. Again, I default to quick and easy. Quick and easy means I'm not going to put a max file because I don't know how big it's going to be and what it's going to prevent. I default to easy, and defaulting to easy means I just allow me to be able to upload things. No maximum file, no allow. Now, what you can do specifically with this, because people might upload things that are too big to share, even though you don't have to click on it if you don't want to. That's the thing. So that's why I see no logic behind setting a minimum, because if somebody uploads something, I don't have to click on it. I really genuinely don't. Now, let me add this here for everyone. You cannot upload and people on the mobile devices are able to do it. What is my workaround that I came up with for that? Use a Google document link. So case in point for club officers training, I am on my mobile talking to you. I might not attend club officers training on a computer. If you have a file that you want me to see, you can upload it from now till next year. I am never, ever, ever gonna see it on my mobile device. So what do? Open Google Docs, upload it to Google Docs and send the link, because the links are visible, but the document isn't visible on mobile devices. That's why we're here, to share best practices like that. If anybody else has a tip like that, let me know. Dropbox is a good one as well, but I know most people tend to be on Google. And again, apparently this is a Google ad, but I tell you already, Google run my head. No feedback to Zoom I have on, mostly because 2 things. One, I'm a beta tester because I like Zoom and I like testing stuff. And two, by being able to offer feedback of things that go wrong, they fix it. I signed up with Zoom on a time when it wasn't as Zoomy. And because of that, the feedback of all the things that go wrong actually did help. Now, display end-to-end meeting encryption feedback survey, I turned that off. There's also the co-host option. Have you ever been in a meeting and you try to give somebody host or co-host and they just can't? That is why. If this is not on, you will never, ever, ever be able to add a co-host. So always ensure that you turn this on, because it's better to have it and not use it than need it and not have it. So you have meetings, polls, and quizzes. Mine are on. If you don't turn that on, see, power cut on you on the phone later. I know, I'm all about that life, and that's why I say people don't turn it on and off. Anything can happen. So you have meeting, polls, and quizzes. If it's not on, you won't be able to use them. I allowed the host to create it in advance. You have to actually turn those on. You can upload an image as well, but if you don't select it in the settings here, you won't be able to use it. And I did turn on allow alternative hosts, but like I said, it's not working for me on the alternative host, but I will get back to you on that if I ever figure it out. You have to turn on meeting surveys if you wanted the surveys, because you have polls or surveys, one or the other. But if you don't turn them on, you won't be able to use it. Always show meeting control bars. Now, this is the important part of our existence, and I'm going to tell you why. When you're sharing your screen, have you ever seen people trying to share the screen, like the actual Zoom screen? And I'm going to stop this one on the tablet. Hang on, so I can demonstrate over there. So have you ever had it that people are trying to share their Zoom screen, right? And in trying to share, when they click share, what they want you to actually see is that, as in, you see how we seen everybody? Hi, everybody. How are you? And we get to see everybody that's on the screen, as well as the settings, as well as participants. They want you to be able to see that, right? And you're not seeing that. Hi, Sean. You're just seeing the back of the screen and not this. Well, guess what? That is simply because that was not enabled. All right, we're going back to. That was simply because it wasn't enabled. And if it wasn't enabled, then you're not going to be able to see that. There's another part you have to do, and I'm going to tell you that in a minute. But for now, we're setting the settings. We're not going on platform. I just went on platform to demonstrate. But if that's not turned on, you will never be able to do that. No matter how much you try, you will never get that. Ever, ever, ever. People will always constantly just be seeing your desktop whenever you share the Zoom screen. That's what you need to ensure is turned on. For the sharing screen option, one participant can share at a time, host only. Why do I set it? Security reasons. I don't allow everybody to be able to share because you may forget. Set to the optimal settings that make yourself comfortable. What I've found is that a lot of the times, unless you set to only host can share, it doesn't take much for Toastmaster Jerry to say, Toastmaster Johnny, can you allow me to share and I make our co-host? But then when I leave it open like that, any Zoom bomber can come in and just share. I found that I did not actually turn that off, and because of that, it allowed for a Zoom bomber and a share photo. Because I allowed everybody to be able to share, I put my default settings, or I did not set my settings to host only. I put it to all participants. So whenever a meeting starts, it would always go to everybody would be able to share. Set it on host only. It's actually a very good security feature to prevent people from just coming in and sharing. And it also prevents people from stopping your share ridiculously, accidentally as well. So who can share when someone is sharing? I have host only selected there as well. Now, Disable desktop screen sharing for meetings you host. Can anybody tell me based on that long spiel, because I'm tired of hearing my own voice now, I need to stretch, and that's me stretching. Why is that off for me? I want to hear a voice that's not mine.
Because somebody can be using a phone. Yes.
All right. It's because if you disable the sharing, then we won't be able to share at all. So it literally is asking if we should turn it off. And that's why I didn't turn it on, because I'm not going to turn it off. So it says disable screen sharing. So you have the option to lock off screen share, full stop. Nobody can share any meeting. Or you have the option to, when guests come in, I see no point in either because I've set mine to host only. It's there as a security feature as well. I don't see why I should turn it off because I need the feature. So I just set it to host only to make my life easier. Annotation. You would think I would turn it off, don't you? You would think I would turn it off, you know. You would think, because I really don't like it. Because people write up on the screen all the time. It drives me up the wall. But no, I left it there, and I left it there for a very specific reason. So that if I want it, I am able to use it. What I can do, but why I didn't set it like that, to be completely honest, only user who is sharing can annotate, is that the whole point of annotation is to allow people to just write. But sometimes people just draw things on your screen for no reason. This is why. So what you can do is select only people who are sharing can annotate. Then you would have to go and edit it in the meeting. Since it's not used that often, that also gives you an option. And it will prevent, have you ever seen people sharing and you see like the little red lines or black lines that just showing up on the screen from nowhere? That's because somebody's annotating and they don't realize that they're annotating. So to prevent that, you have the option where you can either select that only the person who is there annotating, but then you have to remember that if somebody wants to use the feature, which is not really that used, but if they do, then you have to change it to allow others to participate if they want others to write on the screen. Whiteboard we just went through. I want it saved. I want it saved as a PDF. So I selected PDF and not PNG file. And I allow it to save and automatically create a local export that I select those because if I'm gonna use it, I want to save it. Remote control. Ooh, I love this one so much. Who here has ever used remote control?
Never.
Hello? Really? Okay, Toastmaster Kentisha, your turn. Step up to the virtual lectern because I do believe people are hearing way too much of my voice.
No, that is when you give someone access to your computer to do anything you want with it on Zoom. By giving remote control.
Exactly. Have you ever been sharing your screen? Who wants to volunteer so I can demonstrate with this? I'm gonna stop my share, hold on. Who wants to demonstrate for me? Who wants to share screen? Hands up, who wants to share screen? Nobody wants to share screen? Who wants to share screen? Does anybody want to share screen? It's not anything serious, we're just practicing. You're okay, all right. All right, Toastmaster Carol. So I have to make you co-host, there you go. Go ahead and share your screen. See anybody who tried to share in my meeting because you're not host, you're going to see a beautiful thing that says it's only enabled to host. This is why. Whenever you're ready, Toastmaster Carol, you can go ahead and share. Ah, beautiful. So now Toastmaster Carol is sharing her screen. And what I want to do is I want to be able to take control of Toastmaster Carol's screen. There's a little button, and Toastmaster Shannari, or we'll get on that when we go on platform. But what I'm doing is just demonstrating because persons say they haven't. I can actually request control. And when I request control from Toastmaster Carol, Toastmaster Carol, do you see the message?
Yeah, yes, and I've approved and accepted it.
Okay. All right, great. So what that will basically allow me to do is I can go on Toastmaster Carol. See, it was me who clicked on that. I was the one who did that. Toastmaster Carol, do you have anything that would scare people? That was me. See, that's me. That's me on Toastmaster Carol's computer like that. Look at that. Look at me clicking everywhere. What's the point of this? You're on the Toastmasters website. Somebody wants to pay your vice president education membership president. Somebody wants to pay the fee, right? You can go on Toastmasters because remember, for now, we still can't pay for ourselves using a credit card. They have to pay. You can go onto the Toastmasters website. I can now from here. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Is your Google showing anything that you don't want to see, or it's just showing? All right, it's just showing the website. Good. I can go on here and I can actually just type in and pull up. Why are you not typing? Why are you not typing? It's not typing. I'm not typing. You're not working with me at this time. Hold on. I'll demonstrate. I have a tiny keyboard that's USB controlled to do this. So I've been talking so long, it decided to sleep on me. Hold on. Let me turn it on and get it back on. So I can go on Toastmaster Carol's computer and I can actually type in toastmasters.org. Here we go. There we go. So I can pull it up. And when I pull up Toastmasters on Toastmaster Carol's account, right? I can sign in using my sign in, because this goes to security again, you know, I can't give you my login like that. So I can go onto Toastmaster Carol's computer, put in my sign in for whatever I'm doing. I can log in on her computer and say, I'm doing it. So I don't have to worry that I have to tell her. She can see my username. Everybody knows the username because it's the email. But I don't have to worry about sharing my password, changing my password, giving her my password. All I have to do. Are you typing? Yes, you are. Where am I? Toastmaster Carol's hand. Hold on, Toastmaster Carol. I have to lower your hand so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Well, everybody knows my email, so it's not an issue for me to put my email there, right? But I don't want anybody to know my password. So this is the opportunity for me to log in on Toastmaster Carol's screen. Huh?
What you need to miss, is that Toastmaster spelled correctly?
I have not a clue because I'm actually not looking at it because of how I'm sharing the screen. I'm trying to see you guys, so let me fix that. And let me better be able to. There you go. And Toastmaster Carol is helping me. Did I get it right, Toastmaster Carol? It's spelled right? Yes? No? Maybe?
Someone did this to my computer once already, but never through Zoom. I did not realize that Zoom, you could do it too.
You can do it on Zoom. All right, so what will happen is it will give me the opportunity to log in on her system to get this done, if it will ever log in on the system. It's taking its own sweet time. So that's what it is. Yeah, it is like using TeamViewer. It is exactly like using TeamViewer, but Zoom has incorporated that. But anyways, in a perfect world, what is supposed to happen, or in a perfect world, what usually does happen is that I can log in. When I log in, I can go to the payment screen and just have Toastmaster Carol do what she needs to do. That's how it works in a perfect world. But alas, it is not a perfect world, and I have a lot to get through. So we can cover that part of it at the next meeting. But I was just basically just demonstrating why that option is actually there. No, I can't. Each and every single time I want access, I have to ask again. So every single time I want access, I have to ask again for it. And again, that's a security feature to allow her, well, to allow for you not to be able to go back on without permission. So every single time you need permission, you do have to ask. So that's what that is for. Slide control. You can allow other people, new feature, to control the slides, which means I am having an issue, like the case in point of what was happening to me or what was happening a while ago. Toastmaster, I know I can't share. Sharing is something that is unavailable to me at this time. So because I can't share, I need somebody else to share for me. But isn't it really annoying to constantly hear next slide? Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. What you can do is, instead of next sliding everybody to death, allow the person the control to move the slide. So that's actually available as well. Non-verbal feedback. Have you ever seen people like with the arrows going forward or the coffee cup and stuff like that? That never saw the point, never used it, but it's there. But my favorite of everything is meeting reactions. I select all emojis because we all know that it is me. And there are times that, yes, you want to celebrate, but there are times when you need to show everybody that you are getting down with your bad self. Or my personal favorite, what? Of course, yam is life. We're talking about food. Yam is life, right? Or we're going to say, nah, I'm really angry. That totally upset me. So I enabled all emojis, not just the basic ones, to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to express themselves effectively. All right, so allow remove participants to rejoin. I have a funny story for this one. I was hoping that the person would be here. So they will remain anonymous because they're not here to co-sign whether or not I can say their name. Big Toastmasters contest. Big Toastmasters contest. And in the middle of Big Toastmasters contest, somebody logs in and they're Zoom bombers. The person is logged in on their child's device, so they don't have their name. Tell you it's Big Toastmasters contest, right? Contest chair was logged in on their contest chair child's computer. Contest chair got put out of meeting on child's computer because after all, there were Zoom bubbles. They were kicking out everybody who wasn't labeled or we didn't know their name. Contest chair got kicked out of meeting. Contest chair could not rejoin the meeting. We are all there after the trauma of Zoom bombers sitting there wondering, why can we not find the contest chair? Call the contest chair. I don't know, I just got put out and it's giving me a block message. Allow them to rejoin. If all else fails, when you're moving quickly, you never know who you will be removed from the meeting. Can I tell you, we spent a good 30 minutes trying to get the contest chair back on that meeting. All right, so I'm going to ask, because I have something to take care of in a second, why For the rest of these, could everybody just go over it? And if you have a question as to why you think it should be on and off, you can just say. I'm hearing too much of me. Somebody else. Who else wants to discuss these settings?
I'll volunteer
Nobody?
Toastmaster
All right,
Sean.
Ross. Thank you.
I'm volunteering Toastmaster Sean.
You're volunteering Toastmaster Sean?
I was about to say that too.
Yes, I am. I love you too, Sean.
All right, it's fine. I was transitioning and trying to get something done. So I'll continue. Fine. I'm hearing too much of me, but I'll continue. It's okay. So allow, we did show invitee list. Allow users to change their names when joining a meeting. Why do we do that?
To be easy to be identified.
Remember I told you about the contest chair who joined on her son device? If she had changed her name to reflect her name, we wouldn't have put her out the meeting. But at the time, she hadn't changed her name yet. So we still saw her son's name. That's why you allow people to change. I mean, after all, today I'm trainer Joni Laidlaw, but at other places I'm VTM Joni Laidlaw. At some places, I am just Joni Laidlaw. In other places, you call me just Joni. So based on that, people have different monikers, and depending on what you want to put in our people to see, maybe what I put in the last time for the last meeting that I joined, like I'm Hot Stuff 79, is not exactly what I want to be across the meeting for all of Toastmasters. So I log in and I don't realize, oh wait, I had Hot Stuff 81 on it for my last meeting. That doesn't fly very well in the Toastmasters meeting, and I know exactly what my label for entire Toastmasters to be. I'm Hot Stuff 81, right? So based on that, that's why you allow persons to rename, because if you don't, then they're gonna have to message the Zoom master to rename them. So if you don't turn this on, you won't give people the power to do that. Now allow host or co-host to rename participants in the waiting room. Turn that on. And I'm gonna give you an important reason why you need to turn that on. So somebody come in the waiting room and them name iPhone, right? And you message iPhone in the waiting room and you say, iPhone, who are you? Because remember, I tell you, I'm paranoid and not letting you in unless I know you. I say, iPhone, who are you? They go, huh? You know that when you're in the waiting room, you can't rename yourself, right? You know that once you hit the waiting room, there's no changes you can do until you come on platform. So I say iPhone and I say, iPhone, who are you? I don't have no lot now for everybody knows. I have a thing against iThings. Who are you? I'm suspicious of all things iPhone. You're making it difficult on my life. You're not Google. You're not a Pixel. Why are you here? And I message him and I said, no, it's me. It's Toastmaster Carol. This is my iPad. I was like, okay. Toastmaster Carol won't be able to change her name. So I can actually do that change by turning that on to allow myself to rename from in the waiting room. And it acts as another security feature that you can utilize. Now hide participants' profile picture in a meeting. Anybody can guess what that is? Even though it's there and you can probably read it, but I want some interaction. Can we guess what that is? No? Yes.
Toastmaster Johnny.
My picture is displayed now as my daughter. If that was on, you would be able to see my daughter's picture.
This is very, very correct. That is what it actually does. It takes off the pictures that are preset so that everything is a blank space. Why do we do that? Well, sometimes to say contests or things of that nature, we save people from themselves. You know, judges are supposed to remain anonymous, right? And then somebody come up with a brilliant idea that they want all the judges to be named judges. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to be so smart with this because my camera is off. And look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm going to rename myself. Nobody knows who I am. Nobody. I am anonymous. Do you know how many times this happened during the course of contest season? I'm anonymous, right? You can't see me, my camera is off, right?
Oh, we can see the picture, so we know who
You
it is.
can? You
Yeah.
know?
Yes,
Okay. Do you
Yeah,
know?
it's harsh. You're not incognito, not yet.
You sure?
Yeah,
You're
we
very
Absolutely,
sure? My camera
abundantly
is
sure.
off, though. My camera is off. How can you know
Hush.
who I am? My camera is off.
Because your
You can't
profile
tell me
picture is
yes,
showing,
my camera
Joni.
is on.
Your profile picture is there.
Exactly.
not activate the hidden participant profile picture in the meeting.
Precisely. And that is exactly why that exists. Because when you do that and you actually turn off the profile pictures, then guess what happens when I turn off my camera? When I turn off my camera, that is the only time that I get true. And you know, I'm going to keep saying it because I say it bad, anonymity, where only the name that I have is seen. So the only thing that would be there. So you're only seeing trainer Joni Laidlaw. By the way, if you ever go in a meeting and wonder why for the life for you, no matter what you do, your profile picture not showing, it's because they disabled that or they didn't turn that, they have that enabled, hide participants profile picture in the settings and they didn't take it off, or somebody in the meeting set it to that. But usually it's a case where they turn that on, and because it's on by default, it's always going to show that way in the meeting. So report to Zoom. I told you, beta tester, because I'm all about that Zoom life. I love me some Zoom. So I have report to Zoom on. Breakout rooms. Turn on the breakout rooms. No, it is not a default setting. No, Zoom does not turn it on for you automatically. And if you don't, I will search from now till forever. I will never be able to make a breakout room. Somebody did that to me already, by the way. I come in, oh, Toastmaster Joni, I want you to be our Zoom master, sure. And I need you to the breakout rooms. I come on the platform and I look for breakout rooms like a crazy person, and I couldn't create a breakout room because it was not turned on. We had to stop the meeting, go onto the settings, turn on the breakout room and restart the meeting, because how it works is that the meeting has started and I make changes to the settings. It doesn't apply to a started meeting. You see what was happening when you saw the little red box? Once the meeting has occurred, whatever changes you make not going to be automatic. So I have to come off, close the meeting. I don't know if Zoom has upgraded because it's been a while since that happened. And ever since I always tell people, please go on your settings and turn on breakout room. But at the time that it had happened, you couldn't change the settings and it instantly affect the meeting. I don't think it's supposed to allow that to do, but we can test that. Let's test that. We're gonna test, see if it's gonna work. Hide participant. No, it didn't automatically hide. So that means, you see, all right, the hide participants, you notice that we could still see everybody's video even though I turned it on. So if I close out and start the next meeting, it's gonna be there by default, but it's not going to take effect instantly. So we have to close the meeting, kick everybody off the meeting, go into the settings, turn it on, and then come back onto the meeting. Ensure that you set your settings. For my breakout rooms, I did allow hosts to assign and broadcast message to participants. If you don't click it, you know, like you usually see me send a message, you have 5 minutes, you have 10 minutes, you have 30 minutes. If that's not enabled, you can't do those broadcast messages, and I rather like them because it keeps everybody in the breakout room on point together. Allow hosts to view activity status of participants in breakout rooms. I like seeing it because it shows me that people are there and they're participating. I can see a mic, I can see what you're doing. And when we go on platform to discuss on platform, can you imagine it's been over 2 hours already and we don't finish the settings? See why we spend so much time setting the settings? And most people would have think that this is something that would have been done in 5 minutes. See, we've coming up to 2.5 hours, and we still haven't covered every single possible thing on just Zoom US yet, because some of them we ran through. Remote support, one-on-one remote support, I turn that on. Anything to do with support, I always want support. Manual captions, allow hosts to type or assign participants to type. You can do that, or you can allow for a third caption, closed captioning service. Have you ever been in a meeting and you see below it what people are saying is automatically running? You can enable that and use it. I don't put it on these meetings because it can be a bit distracting on Toastmasters meetings, but that's an option you have depending on whether or not you have the need for it. All right, automated captions, turn that on as well. Full transcript, did that. Save captions, did that as well, because if ever somebody is doing that and I need it, I want to be able to save it. I turned on language integrations just because, like I said, I'm all over the world. It's there, you can use it. It allows persons to assign interpreters. Like for District 81, we're across the Caribbean. Some people speak, what is Toastmaster? Papimento. There you go, I remember. Toastmaster Fabulous speaks Papimento. Some people speak Spanish. Some people speak French, because we have Haitians and their primary language is French. When all of those people meet up on one platform, can you imagine when for me who only know English, I tried French, I was very bad at it. And I tell you, I respect people who would know a lot of languages so much. But pour me and my English speaking self sit down and the French speaker happening, the Spanish speaker happening, and I am not understanding a word. You have the option to assign interpreters, sit there for up to 9 languages, and you do that by enabling that setting. And what did I say about whenever you see something? Because we've grown in the habit of just turning it on automatically.
Save it.
Whenever you, please make sure that you save it. Far end camera control, I turned it on. To be honest, if you ask me for explanation, I'm sending it to zoom.com. Group HD video, anything that says high definition, I'm going to turn it on because you have people with all the embellishment that's coming on the thing. Because I'm a member of Online Presenters, right? And I tell you, I can do some stuff with Prezi and that when I get my tech up, y'all will be astounded. But right now, my tech not that up. So because of that, the group HD video and things of that nature, I can't do yet. But it doesn't mean that I don't like seeing other people doing it and taking it to another level so that I can go, one day I'm gonna do that. I know how. Once I get my tech up, I'm gonna be there. Virtual backgrounds is a must because I don't want people to see a background all the time at all. I mean, one day I gave an evaluation from Suffrage. I was in transition. I didn't get home in time, but it happens. Virtual backgrounds actually help. Video filters, and we're gonna show that on platform. Video filters. I love video filters. Video filters are so awesome. And it's me, I have to go overboard and actually show a filter because I mean, it's me. I have to show you a filter. Video filters. That's a filter. If you don't turn it on, you don't get the joy of being able to use a puppy, to have the little puppy there. So make sure you put on video filters. Avatars. Wait, no. I'm a cow. Move. See? I'm a cow. And if you don't turn on avatars, you will never get the opportunity to go, I'm a cow. Move. So this is a cool feature that you can have on Zoom that if you don't turn it on, you will never be able to utilize it. So next, immersive view. I love immersive view. That's when you can set it up and you can put people to sit in different places. And I will demonstrate because I'm not sure if we'll be able to go all the way into immersive view for the next training. I hope that we do to demonstrate how to do it. But have you ever seen like the person is there and you have a different kind of background there, trees, or they're in a classroom setting, or I did one where I used a podium where we put all of them sitting together. So all of us in the panel were sitting with each other. You can use immersive view to do that. And see, it says classroom or boardroom. They have different scenes that you can just put the videos of the people there, and then the background that everybody sees becomes those individuals. That's immersive view. Focus mode. I've tried focus mode. I don't really use it all that much, but it's on in case it ever comes in handy. So you can show only like one specific video, but it's just there in case it ever comes in handy. I don't have on identify guest participants. Maybe I should, but I don't really want people sticking out like a sore thumb. And I like the fact that it adds engagement to ask, can our guest please rename to guest? So I don't want Zoom to automatically do it for me, because to a certain extent, I think it makes us miss the opportunity at an interaction. I use it to take advantage of being able to reach out to somebody and say, hi, is this your first time? Are you a guest to the meeting? Without just going, you want the table topics. It gives me a reason to that. And then the person can say, no, man, I'm a Toastmaster from here. Really? All right, can you rename to visiting Toastmaster for me? Would you like to do table topics? I don't just lead with what I want. I try to find something else to ask people first. But if you do want to just identify your guests to begin with, that's an option that you can use. To answer group chats, I don't do that because it can get annoying when the auto answer keeps popping up. Use HTML format email for Outlook plugin. I don't have Outlook, but I have it turned on because I probably am going to end up using the Outlook feature eventually on the logical logistics, because it's set up as Outlook, even though Google run my head, so I turn that on. So in case you need it for everybody who sends emails via Outlook, that's also good to have. Now, allow users to select stereo audio in their client, turn it on. Some people know how to change it. In one of my clubs, the person used to be like a radio announcer, right? So he's a radio announcer and his audio is epic. Mostly because he invested the $300 in the amazing microphone that you would need in order to do that. And because of that, when he sets his settings, it's not like me that's using this. His audio is amazing because of that. But if I don't allow him to be able to use stereo, etc., they won't, on my meeting, I won't be able to have that experience. So even if you don't need it, still enable it if it's something that you consider that would be useful. Show join from browser link, please. When my child computer acting up, if I have to borrow it and I have to use his browser, I am asking you kindly. That's the only way I can get onto your meeting. And if you don't have that on, I will never be able to join your meeting because I cannot join from the app. I cannot download the app because Windows has decided it is going to block the app and I can't get on. And therefore, if you don't give me the option to join, as much as I want to be a role player and show up, because I've been to all your clubs and you know how much I love to contribute, I will never get on. I will never be able to get on. And I'm not the only person who has that. There are times when Windows head check it. That's the only way I can look at it. Like sometimes Windows head check it and it just decide that it's going to be annoying and it going to block people. And I have it happen to people all the time. One of the best ways to get around that is to allow the join from browser links. So please enable that. I don't turn on always join from browser because you have the option of which one you want to do. And if I turn it on, I'm going to limit people to have to do something that they don't want to do. Allow live stream of meeting, Facebook Live, Workplace by Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. Right now, I could be going live on YouTube, but I don't want to because I want to upload the video after so that I can send it specifically to the person By the way, all the videos are unlisted that I upload. So unless you have the link, you won't be able to see it. And it's specifically because if I knew I was going to upload this publicly on YouTube, you think I'd be this crazy? You think I'm a cow moo? Do you think I would say, please ask me the questions, even if you think they're stupid? No, because you're not going to want to, because you never know who's going to see it, right? No, whoever sees it, it's because they were granted access via the link, which is other people that we know, because you have to register in order to get it. Show custom disclaimer. Oh, this one is so cool, but I don't have it on. You can put the housekeeping rules as a disclaimer so people will have to accept in order to join. Say you don't want to say this meeting will be recorded for quality and training purposes as it will be broadcasted via YouTube. And by joining this meeting, you agree that you will be displayed online via our social media accounts. Every single meeting, you don't want to waste the time to do that. You can turn this on, make a written disclaimer that will come up. You will actually get consent from the person because they will have to click yes in order to join that meeting. Request permission to unmute. I turned that on because you never know when you're going to need it for a contest, etc. So even though the setting might always be there, if you don't turn it on, when you need it, you might not be able to use it. Enable stop incoming video feature, again from the top. Sometimes people come in and they are not aware of what is happening behind them. And based on that fact, you see it, you have to stop the video. If you don't turn that on, you're going to spend your entire time trying to get their attention instead of just stopping the video. Or you may inherently have to draw everybody else's attention to it by calling out that person. And depending on what it is, it might not be something that that person wants to share, where you can just stop the video and send them a message when they ask, why did you stop my video? It makes it a lot more comfortable and a lot more easier to maneuver doing stuff like that. Save gallery view I have just because you never know when I might want to save it. And email notification, I have that on. I don't have a send a copy to the person who scheduled the meeting or send a copy to the alternative host. One, because the alternative hosts aren't working. And two, the person scheduling the meeting have enough emails. The person scheduling the meeting does not want any more emails. The person scheduling the meeting is happy to know that Zoom is sending it to you, but the person scheduling the meeting does not want any more emails. She cannot deal with any more emails. Yes, Toastmaster Kentisha, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Toastmaster Kentisha. Not hearing you.
Can you scroll up just a bit before this? Right there, save gallery review. What does that entail really?
You can set up the gallery view any way you want, and then you can save it so that if you keep having to go to the meeting, case in point, right now, and I'm gonna do follow host view so that you can see. When I click on follow host view, if you notice, you see logical logistics, you see me as trainer, and say I want to put you instead of Jerry. See, I can move you, and then I can move Mishan, and I can move Verona, or I can put another me there so I can have my pretty picture. See, so I can compare me to me. So I can have me, that's me, and that's me, and that's me. So you have the option to actually move and arrange things in that way. When I set the order, say every single meeting, I'm gonna have the same people. Say, for example, you're a teacher and you have a class and you need it done in the same way, you can actually save that view to reuse it repeatedly. Do I need it? No. Will it come in handy? Maybe. Does it cost me anything to have it on? No. And therefore, I just turned on. If they're off, it's because they did something to me. I can tell you honestly, if it's off, they did something to me. They did something to me. They hurt me, Kentisha. They did something. They caused it. That's why they're off. Yes, Toastmaster Pearl, you can go ahead.
Sometimes while the meeting is going on, you have some cameras on, some cameras off, and I like to every now and then shuffle them around and make sure all the cameras that's on is there to take the picture, but then it gives you a message that it's recording, so you cannot, you have no
Not
access
recording.
to. Sorry?
Not recording. Not recording. It's spotlighted. So let's go. It's not recording, no, it's spotlight. Try to move try to move your videos now.
Yeah, nothing going on.
You can, huh? Go ahead.
No, it's locked. It's locked.
And there is a specific reason for that.
And a few
Because
minutes
as
ago,
it
I was though.
stands now, because a few minutes ago, I did not have follow host order on. So because I've set follow host order, you have to see what I say you have to see. So I have determined what you see. Now I release it. You can try moving now.
Yeah.
You can try moving them now.
It's still locked for me.
They
Right?
are?
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're not supposed to be.
Right. Gallery.
They're not supposed to be.
Okay, yeah. Okay, now they're moving.
All right. So you should be able to move the pictures around. Now, the other option that you can't move it is, now I'm spotlighted. So try to move.
Okay, gallery view. Yeah, this is exactly what you get. This cannot move a video while someone has a hand. Okay, this one's saying hand raised. Yeah.
Because Kentisha's hand is raised. You can't do that when the hand is raised, you're spotlighted, or you have follow host order. Go ahead, Toastmaster Kentisha.
Where do you go to activate and deactivate that?
You will learn that from distinguished Toastmaster Shania, because today is set your settings. So I'm setting up why you need to turn them on so that when him ask you to do it and him showing you what to do, I've already laid the foundation so that it's already on yours and it is doable. So he will actually demonstrate these things. Those are on-platform things. This is me 2 hours and 30 minutes after just setting up to be prepared to use the platform. Can you imagine? 2 hours and 30 minutes and we're still not finished yet, just so that he can come in and explain to you how to do it on the platform. And if I didn't turn them on and make sure that they were there, you would never be able to use them. So, all right, so now that we've gone all the way through to the end, yeah, again, I have enough emails. I'm happy that you get them. And if you want them, if you want a notification, please feel free to select it. But my email cannot handle any more emails. I am all emailed out. So I didn't. But you have that option if it's something that interests you. All right, so when someone schedules the meeting for the host, notify the host. That's if you ever get the alternative host to work. I turned it on because I may forget. And I did put a lot of effort in trying to get that thing to work. So when the cloud recording is going to be permanently deleted from trash, notify me. I turned that on because Zoom has a set amount of time that those recordings will be there, or it automatically starts to delete it. If you don't put that notification on, you're going to take for granted it is there and go back and it's gone. And you didn't get a nice little email to say, guess what, we're going to delete it now, so turn that on. The blur thing I just put on because, hey, I don't use it, but it's there, it's an option. Invitation email, language is English. I can go ahead and edit that to say what I want it to say, as in like that, or add more content to it. Down here, say I want to add something else to it, I have the option to do that right there by pressing that little pencil. And we are there. Do not hit regenerate, because the second you hit regenerate, everything going to go back to the default setting and you're going to have to start again. And you see how long it takes us just to get through to here? And I didn't even cover the virtual backgrounds, but it's fine. I know we all use them. Sigh. So now that we've gone through all of that, right? And that's just settings. Now we know that we're set up for the meeting. We have to now set up for the recording. You know, I thought 3 hours would have been enough to cover all of this, but apparently I'm gonna have to speed up. So you have the local recordings, save the chat. All of these is how it will go to your cloud recordings. You have to turn on the cloud recording if you want to be able to record to the cloud. I chose active speaker, share screen, and not gallery view because each one that you save will save a different video, and I don't have Zoom space because I didn't pay for extra. And what I actually want is just the active speaker view and what's demonstrated. You can do that active speaker and share screen, so that way you capture what you record. I did not do gallery view specifically for that reason. So record audio files. I have my audio files. You can have one giant file or you can have separate audio files for each participant, depending on what you do. Because if you're using Zoom and then you're going to want to edit it, so you're going to need multiple angles, different videos that you're going to put it together on the whole drama on the video, you can do that. I don't need it. I don't have the space. I don't add it, but you can, because it will help behind the scenes after the fact if you have a good video editor to splice, throw in and do all of that, but you have to enable it here in order to do that. Now, advanced cloud recording settings. I put display the names because I like that. Record thumbnails when sharing. I didn't put a timestamp on the recording. I don't want a timestamp because, again, I'm all over the world in varying places and I don't want to know how long the meeting has been. Optimize the recording for third-party video editor. I don't have the kind of space that's going to require anything that says optimize. But if you do plan to edit the video, splice, add sounds, effects, all of that after the fact, enable that and you'll have a better quality video saved for you to be able to cut and splice and do all of that on another third-party editor. Save panelist chat to the recording or save poll results shared during the webinar. I don't, because most of my polls are supposed to be anonymous and I don't want it, but you can if you want to. Save closed caption, because if I ever put it on, of course, I'm going to want to see it. Allow cloud recording, sharing has to be on. Have you ever gotten like the Zoom thing and then you have like a little password and you can access it? If you don't turn that on, you'll never be able to share it. Automatically record. Have you ever gone into a meeting, the meeting starts, and as soon as the meeting starts, it turns on? I think it will automatically start. And again, I don't have enough cloud space too, and I don't believe in recording every meeting. You guys have been to a lot of stuff that I do and I just don't record it. So I'll never turn that on. When I want to record, I'll record and I'll put in the active thing. So again, my settings are set that way because that's my preference. But if you know you're gonna forget, or you want as soon as the meeting starts because you have an alternate host for it to be recorded, you can turn it on and it will automatically record to the cloud. IP address control, I have that off. I will show you where to find out what that means because we're at like 15 minutes left and we're not even through. Set recording on demand by default. That's off for me as well because it's something I prefer to control, but you have that option. Request passcode to access share cloud recording. I turn that on because if I'm gonna share it, you have to have a password in order to see it. So I enable the passcode. Viewers can see the chat. You know, like when you see in a meeting and the chat is popping up. I want, the chat is important. I think the chat is necessary. So based on that, I allow that to come up because it's also a part of the interaction. The chat is there. I want it to show. So I allow the chat pop-ups to be saved as well because I want it. You don't have to. And that's how you turn it off. If you keep recording the video, I keep seeing the people, them things popping up on the video and it's annoying you and you don't want it, that's where you turn it off. Delete crowd recording after a specific number of days. I have no space, so my specific number of days is I go in there and take it off. However, when you set this, you can automatically choose how many days you want them to be there for and preset. I don't. Mostly because I don't record very often and all the time. And if I'm recording for a purpose. But say every single meeting, every single club meeting you have you record, eventually you're going to get to the point where your cloud recording is going to get full. That will allow you to delete over time. Hosts can delete cloud recordings. That is on by default. See, it's blue there and I can't affect it. Because I mean, why would you want to? Of course, I'm going to want to be able to delete it at any time. Recording notifications, all participants is on mine. because I want that little phrase, this meeting is being recorded, pop up, and you have to click it so that nobody can say, no, I didn't know it was being recorded and you did it against my knowledge. That's there as a notification. That's important. If people don't want to be recorded, they can choose to step, or say, listen, I don't want to be recorded. Or in the case of one time, it was an error for me. When it happened was how I realized that it started recording, and then I could stop it. Recording notification, phone users, they're gonna hear that this message is being recorded, so I didn't put it there. And most of the time their videos tend to be off anyway. So when it comes to participation, it's only voice, and they'll hear that this is being recorded message. All right, so audio conferencing. I have my third-party audio on. I don't have make phone calls, etc. on it. And I put show international numbers on the invitation link because, again, all over the world. This I will show you on zoom.com. I don't have any collaborative devices at the moment, but I'll send you the zoom.com link because, as you can see, some of these I have to go through really quickly, and we have like 14 minutes left. Zoom up, zoom up, zoom up, zoom up. I love Zoom apps. Do you know you have a timer feature that you can put the timer like right there, that you don't have to change the background, but then you're gonna put it and the timer is gonna come up there. If you don't turn on the Zoom apps, you will never be able to see or use the Zoom apps. Here is where you do that. We went through whiteboards, fortunately, where you saw what they are, but here is where you do the settings. I allow hosts and participants and allow myself to export the whiteboards. Workspaces, I do not use, but you create calendar events for rooms reservations. That was for rooms when I was trying to figure it out, and I just never turned it on. I still have not figured it out. If you ever do, let me know. And create calendar events for desk reservations. I've never used it. Again, I'm going to drop the link to the support section for everybody so that they can actually do it. But the easiest thing to do, if you click right here, so it will actually take you, see processing, to Zoom support. Everything you want to know is right here from getting started. So you have download and install, set up, troubleshoot, download Zoom, all that stuff is right here. Update Zoom. Somebody asked me how you upgrade. Well, click on support, upgrade into latest version, and it will explain to you how to upgrade to the latest version. You also have this cute little feature. I saw it. I thought it was adorable. I thought you all would enjoy it. It's not audio and video. That's not where it is. It's the name that I want you to see, but you have video, audio settings, video features, stuff like that, how to use them there. I'm gonna find it. Give me a second. Account management shows you how to find the profile, the billing information, all that stuff, which I'm not gonna be able to cover. I thought I would have been able to, but apparently not. Where is the bot? They have a bot that I thought was so cute. These are also different things as well that will give you different details on how to use it. So product support would be the different product service offerings that they have and how you would go about utilizing that. I really am trying to find this Bolt bot. Where is this Bolt bot? I found it earlier. I was using it and I am not locating the bot, which I really enjoyed because his name is Bolt. And we all know why we would like the bot, because his name is Bolt, right? When I hear too much of me, I ask a question because I want to hear somebody else's voice. We all know why I like the bot called Bolt, right?
Yes.
I like the bot called Bolt because I'm like, you know, Usain Bolt's reference right there.
I found the bot. Look, it's on the side with a little blue on the bottom, the chat, right? Okay, yeah, you got
the chat bot.
Yeah.
There it is. There he is. Thank you very much. So there you go. And there is both. So if all else fails and you're clicking around and you're not finding what you want, you can bring up the boat bot, and from there, you can literally type in what you want to figure out, right? How to join meeting, camera is not working, change virtual backgrounds, all the things that I have to say quickly that you didn't know how to do, you can put it in there and it will provide you with the information. Parallel to that, Toastmasters International has that too. And it's the same place where you have a chat and you have a bot that will assist you in figuring out the site in the same way. But on Toastmasters International, it asks if you need any help. That as well is a similar premise to that bot. So now that we have gone through all those settings, and I have to go quickly to this one because, all right, account management, because I had shown you the account management, but I have to show you this because I have like 9 minutes left. And it would be remiss of me after I show to you how to schedule the meeting and all that jazz to not show you where you go when you need to get the information. So the last thing, because I thought 3 hours would have been enough, but we have not covered everything, but at least I will empower you to be able to find what you need on your own, or any questions you have, you can drop them in the chat about zoom.us. You have the account settings. This is where you would go to find your recordings. So if you need your recordings, etc., at the end of the day, you would come here to locate them. All right, I don't have any at the moment because I deleted all of them, so they have no space. But all of these are what it would do, where everything is it recording management? This is the part that always get, there you go. All right, right way. So you go to the other one to set the recording settings. You go to recording management to get to the recording. Still says processing, as you can see, because we're mid-meeting, and I deleted everything else because, again, I don't have much space. And you'd be surprised at how much space a Zoom meeting takes up. And I'm not upgrading and buying any additional space. But if you do a lot of recordings and you see the need to keep the recordings, it would be worth it to invest in additional recordings. Basically, I think that's it. That we would need to cover. I have 7 more minutes. The 7 more minutes to say that when it comes to administration, you have the option on your account to change your profile, your account settings, etc., as well by going there. In addition to how you utilize just the regular settings. So it's another way to access that. But the reason why you would go here is to get your recordings and to get your whiteboards. There you go. And to get your whiteboard. Also, for those of you who have a paid account and have to think about that I have a paid account part, this is also where you would figure out the beauty of billing as well. So you can see your plan, your pending plan, you can upgrade, you can change all of that. When I drop the Toastmasters International, you can get a discount. This is where you would put the discount code in to utilize that feature, because Toastmasters International has like a 30% discount or 50% discount thing that you can put in there. And I do believe, I think, I hope, I have made it, even though we have not covered everything. But as stated, the most important part of this is going to be that I am going to make sure that I give everybody support, because this support tab is awesome. And the beauty of Zoom that I love they always give you a video. But make sure that no matter what, you set your settings. All right, so thank you everyone for coming, and for the rest of it, for those who are going to have to leave, I am, all right. Right, so for everybody who is going to have to leave, feel free, I'll be on for a little bit more because of the fact that I am going to be sharing